Hello, everybody. It is the RP Ginger here, and we are running Storm King's Thunder tonight. Session 31, titled Storm Child. Last we left off, a pretty crazy chain of events occurred in the Eye of the All-Father, a lost giant temple, where the party sought out the Oracle and learned 6 important pieces of information to help them solve the issue of the ordning being shattered. Upon exiting the Oracle, the Oracle's room, they were discovered by Imrith, Doom of the Desert, where a fight broke out between this ancient dragon and the party. She began summoning the stone statues 60 feet tall to life to attack the party. Harshnag showed up epically to help them defend against these attacks, but Imrith and the giant statues were too much, and they were forced to flee, with Harshnag and Bjornhilda essentially sacrificing themselves and tearing down the temple, giving the party time to leave. Harshnag actually performed an act of desecration towards Anam, the All-Father, and in doing so, basically shunning his own god and performing an act of aggression towards it. It brought the whole temple down upon them. The party, running out as rebel and everything was falling around them, forgot about a trap that was left unsprung in previous sessions. And unfortunately, due to some absolutely terrible rolls on everyone's behalf, 3 party members were instantly killed. Luckily, having the cleric in the group, he was able to resurrect a couple of them, but ran out of the spell slots needed to raise the last member, Sunlit in the Darkness. And unfortunately, that was Sunlit's last few moments, crushed under a rock. The party tried as they might, but there was nothing they could do. They recovered the bodies, though, and flew away on the airship provided by the Dragon Cultist clan. We will pick up there shortly, but with the death of Sunlit, we need to introduce a new character. So we're going to start over away from the airships, further down south of the spine of the mountain, or spine of the world. And it is a dark and frigid night. We find ourselves somewhere in the spine of the world on a massive snowy cliffside. You see these cliffs reaching up to the gods as far as the eye can see in every direction. It is currently the 12th month of the year 1494 Dale Reckoning. We are in the northernmost parts of the world that are civilized, or that are known to civilized men and women, a territory that is cold and unforgiving. There is amongst the endless nights a few flickering fires of campfires hidden underneath these gaps in the cliff sides. And on this particular mountain, the most peculiar thing on this icy, snowy winter's night is the gray clouds above boom with thunder and spark with lightning. And a rain in the middle of this winter begins to fall and turn to sharp ice pellets that sprinkle down and rat against the tents that this tribal encampment that we're now zooming in down on, the encampment of the Children of Storms. We see sitting on a stone in front of one of these sputtering campfires, a pale-faced woman. The fire is behind her, and she overlooks some more dim lights. These lights coming from the civilized mines of Mirabar. You can faintly make them out many miles away and far below the cliff. She has this unkempt hair that looks like frizzed and matted, but as you see the shadow of her face and this kind of messy hair, there's these striking, piercing blue eyes that almost seem to have electricity to them. As the storm begins to grow above her, she is an absolutely beautiful woman, but also, you can just tell by the look on her face, very fierce and dangerous. She's looking down at these faint fires, and she scours as she thinks of the dwarven races that inch closer towards her land. She knows that these dwarves are greedy and that they want their precious gemstones and metals. And she knows that even though as she sits hundreds of miles away, maybe not hundreds, but many miles away, far away this campfire is, she knows that their minds are deepening and they inch closer and closer to her sacred territory. a territory that these dwarves must never be allowed to look upon. It's good, she thinks to herself, that the Lightning Clan has recently taken over, and she is now the mother of the storms, wife to the protector of light. She will bear his child, and when the time is right, birth the next destined champion of this tribe. The Lightning Clan will watch over the tribe, even if the other clans do not see eye to eye. She knows that a war is upon us and a storm is brewing. The civilized world is growing and wishes to devour her old ways, but the old ways will not be forgotten. She thinks to herself, a storm is coming, and its children await. And then as she's kind of lost in thought, we hear some younger individuals kind of bothering somebody as a man in a mask approaches the fire, and you hear the voice, Rick Leviant, please, the campfire. Could you tell us the story of our tribe, how it all began? And go ahead, Rick Leviant, or Rick Liviant. Oh my God, I'm already bombing it. Describe what you look like as these young tribal children are basically pestering you to tell the story of the first mother. You can introduce your character now.
Yeah, so you do see a opposing figure, probably 6'5", 6'6", built like a linebacker, wearing all white, and does have a mask on that is intricately scrolled, and you can tell has some power to it. Maybe he looks down at the children and says, "A story again. I told you the same story yesterday. It's as if you have no memory. Is that what I'm to assume, young ones?"
They just, Rick Leviant, we like to hear it. We like to know how our people started off. To which point, Lorwyn, your wife, pipes up and says, maybe they would remember it if you were more capable of telling better stories. You see, children, he is the protector of light, and all he's spent his life doing is learning how to protect some shrine. You see, he's to put all of his eggs in one basket, and unfortunately for him, he's not really good at much else. And she says it in a sarcastic kind of tone, but at the same time, she just says it dead-faced. So it kind of like almost stings a little bit, but you know she's joking.
Give me 2 seconds.
All right, 2 seconds he has. He's feeling out. While we wait, let's jump over then. Segue, like a car slamming on its brakes all of a sudden, to the airship where Octavius, you're in the room. We panned over, Corey. Octavius, you're in the room with the body of Sunlit, which lays lifeless on the bed. This is just moments of flying away. A snowstorm is beginning to swell up, and the airship is getting tossed around, so you're kind of having a hard time keeping your footing. Sunlit's body almost topples out of the bed that she's kind of in, just from a strong gust of wind. You know that your party, Warrendale and Livy, are badly injured. But what do you do?
A little bit of time has passed now. The room is quiet. You can tell Octavius has finished his conversation with Sunlit. He's stoic at this point, watching over her body. No more crying, no more tears. He does a quick search of her body. He wants to go through her inventory and just see if there's any important trinkets that she might have started this with that he can carry on with him to make sure that he finishes, a little part of her finishes this mission. So is there anything, like in our first episode, our first one-on-ones with Chris, our characters received something, and I know at one point in the game so far that they've been stolen by a friend of Warren's, but is there anything on you that you might have started this with that was given to you at the beginning of the game that might be important that I could just say?
Yeah, no, not really. Mine was more of a mental thing. And whereas I made friends with the daughter of the sea god.
Well, Octavius will reach down as he goes
The
through.
only sorry.
Sunless.
The only thing you'd find on her is what you would know is her prized possession would be that weapon.
Okay. Yeah. And as he's searching through her robes, he's doing it with the utmost respect, putting things back exactly how they were, making sure that the robes are crossed tightly across Sunless' chest. He goes down to her belt and he sees the comma that he knows she valued so much, and he takes it off of her, clips it onto the back of his belt so that it's loosely circled around the loop on the back of him, and he says, "This is part of you. See this out. I will treat it with respect, and your memory will always live on through me." And Octavius won't leave the room. He'll take like the sacred rite of never leaving the body, and he'll make sure that he's there. As Warren and Lily are healed, he stays with Sun's body, and he never leaves it, never sleeps, doing his penance at night in that room by himself.
Absolutely. You know that the storm must first be weathered, but a funeral would need to be held for Sunlit when the time is right. So you seal yourself in this room and have some moments just between you and maybe the body of Sunlit. You're thinking to yourself, preparing for the funeral. We'll, however, jump back over to the Children of Storms as Lorwyn, your wife, Mother of Storms, just gave you a spicy little burn and said that you're basically spent all your life learning how to defend a cave and you've gained no other skills. She says it in a joking manner, but her face makes you question whether she's truly joking or if that's just actually what she thinks.
Yeah. Rick Livian, which I think I'm going with that. Rick Livian. Because Rick Leviant sounds weird. So Rick Livian looks at her and turns his back to the children. Is there anybody else in the viewing area besides his wife?
No, it's just she's kind of like perched on like a little ledge of a cliff with a fire, and there's like a cliffside overhanging. But it's just her looking out. You know that she does this quite often. She's constantly like watching the civilized men in the mines of Mirabar. So this is her kind of like place.
So he's hooded. Like I said, it's he's wearing mostly all white and gray. It looks like he's got shoulder pads on, but by looking at them, you can tell that they don't really offer any armor. And he raises the mask just enough to slide back into the hood that he's wearing and looks at Lorian and goes, "My dear, I'm not so sure why you think the Noonstone is important. Wasn't it important when you took all this over?"
Oh, my husband. It's not that I don't think your job is important. I'm just saying that you spent so much time besting yourself at it that you've lacked any other time to pick up other personal skills with perhaps entertaining the children. I've heard your rendition of Asharia, the First Mother, and let me tell you, it's a bit of a snoozer.
Yes. It's and he does let out a little bit of a giggle. And you notice that he's a fairly fair-skinned man. And you can see some dark hair maybe pushing off to the side, maybe a braid coming down. And the most distinguishing part of him is that where he should have eyes, it's just glowing spheres in his eye sockets. And he walks towards her and pulls the mask back down before he looks at the children and says, "Little ones, I'm going to tell you something. Do you want to know who's the best storyteller here in town? It's going to be my beautiful wife here. Maybe one day she'll tell you the story properly." And he kind of turns around and looks at her. And if you could see somebody smile through a mask, he's certainly smiling.
Yeah.
And he kind of gives a little bow to the children and goes, "My little masters, go on. Have fun. Your childhood is going to end faster than you think."
Lorwyn speaks up and says, "Yes, Rick Leviant, our protector, is right. It is getting a little late, children, but I suppose one story won't hurt." And did you have anything else? Anything else? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, he. I'm so used to saying she because I play so many female characters. He walks over, and I kind of feel like maybe there's a bench behind her,
Yep.
and goes ahead and kind of sits behind her, with kind of straddled her in between both of his legs. And again, he's just massive. It's and he does one thing for the children before sitting down. And he goes, "Here, I'll show you my coolest trick." And out of his back, after a moment or so, it almost looks as if the glowing that you can see through the mask intensifies a bit. And he looks up to the sky, says, "Stramus, give me the power." And sprouts out of his back a couple of the same color blue ethereal wings come out of the back of his body, and he rises off the ground just a few feet, does a little bit of a spin, and comes and lands. And I imagine that the children clap for him and so on and so forth. And it's he goes, "I'm much more of an action person, as my wife knows. Now, come, children. She'll tell you a quick story, almost like a bedtime story. And then it will be time for you to go off to your parents." And he does. He goes and sits down, with the wings kind of folded behind him because they last for a while. And he sits, like I said, kind of behind his wife, and very lovingly just kind of puts his arm around her.
Yes. He says, "Gather around, children. If you're done, Rick Leviant, I will tell these children the proper way of how the Children of Storms came to be. Children, it was said many centuries ago, before any races tamed these lands, there was a storm that threatened to flood the entire world. It was called the Endless Storm. And much like this storm tonight, it raged for as long as the creatures ever knew. Lightning tore away the earth and formed the great mountains. Thunder boomed and shattered the ground, creating deep canyons, and the water poured endlessly, creating the seas. It was a dire time for all living creatures, for they were on the verge of extinction. That was until one brave human decided to challenge the gods and the cruel ways of the Endless Storm. Her name was Asharia, and she is the first mother of our clan, our tribe. She climbed the melting mountains of the spine of the world that we find ourselves on today. During the ravaging storm, sheeted with lightning and thunder that deafened the living, she presented herself to the storm on a peak of the mountain, and she begged the gods for balance. She pleaded that while the storms are needed to cleanse the land and wash away the old and rebirth the new, that this endless storm threatened to cleanse all life and leave nothing. As she begged and thought that her pleas would not be answered, a lightning bolt flashed in the sky, and it beamed so brightly and burnt so hot that it instantly burned Asharia's eyes, blinding her in that instant. She did not wheel in pain, though, for as her eye sockets burned, she realized at that moment at the end of the world that she was not alone. Asharia could feel another presence, the presence of Stromness, god of giant of the storms. And even in her blinded status, she could sense the 80-foot tall, blue-eyed, youthful auburn-haired giant. The darkness intertwined with the blinding lightning that would have made this presence a towering shadow behemoth. But Asharia did not need to see the god to feel the smile and the life energy that flowed through him. She bravely stepped up to the peak of the mountain and asked Stormness to please cease the storm so that her people could regrow. Stromness loved the woman in that instant for her braveness and her overwhelming will to live in the life that flew through her. He proclaimed to Asharia that he would stop the storm, but in doing so, he needed to split the storm in two. Two parts, darkness and light, day and night. Asharia asked what this would cost her, and Stromness told her that she would become Asharia the Storm Mother. She would birth the child of the storms and the protector of light. Every generation from this point forward would be born with a brimming, powerful energy to them, the energy of the storm, and it was now her people's duty to protect the day cycle, the noon stone. Asharia agreed to this moment, and within an instant, Stromness took his giant trident and stabbed it into the storm, shattering it in that very moment into two halves. Day and night manifest themselves in these great two storms, and like that, the storm ended. The Night Stone was sent far to the south of the Sword Coast, forgotten. But its sister stone, the Noon Stone, it stayed here in the spine of the world. A crack of lightning bolted off and hit Asharia. When the light subsided, though, Asharia bore a child. Her belly swole. Stromness told Asharia that she now carries the spark within her, the first protector of light, the first child of storms. She must raise this child to protect the stone above all. For if ever combined with the Night Stone, the endless storm will return and drown out the world. And so, the first Azamar was born, a child of God-given blood. And since then, every generation, people have passed down this duty of protecting the Night Stone. Rick Leviant is the current protector of storms, protector of light. And I am the current mother of storms, the ruler of this tribe, and the one who will bore Rick Liviant's next child. And that, my children, is how our tribe was born. They all kind of, impressed, go up to you and say, Rick Liviant, you really are the protector of the light. You are the one that stops the endless storm from ever returning. And I imagine you just kind of nod.
Yes, children. I am. As I do, I look as... And he very infrequently does. He removes the mask and his hood. And again, it's a very much looks like many of the other people there. Humanoid male. Fairly long black hair. Has braids within his hair, not cornrows or anything like that, just, here and there. Maybe even a few dreadlocks. And he's got his eyes closed when he first takes the mask off. And he goes, yes, children, I am the protector of everything. The guardian of the Moonstone. The Noonstone. And an Aasimar. Much like you, but a little bit different. And he opens his eyes, And it is. They absolutely glow blue. There's no pupil. There's no white part of there's no white part of the eye or anything. And if you look long enough at them, you almost see like, I wouldn't say smoke coming off, but almost like heat waves. You know what I mean? Like when you look through a fire. And he blinks a few times, and then it doesn't change. And maybe the children go oohs and ahs. And the only people that oftentimes get to see this type of thing are his wife and maybe some of the other elders of the tribes. And he looks at them and goes, "So, children, just remember that one day we will create a child, and you're going to want to be friends with this boy because he will be, or girl, the protector after I am gone."
They
And
all
he puts
kind
the
of
mask back on, brings up the hood again, and and just sits there and looks very well. It doesn't look like anything because he's got the mask on.
yeah. Lorwyn says, "And with that story's end, children, it is now the end of your day. Go to bed. We'll have an early morning tomorrow. You'll need your rest." And then with that, they kind of reluctantly go off, and it's just you and Lorwyn sitting by the fire. A few moments of silence kind of pass before you wait to see like who's going to be the one to speak up first. Lorwyn is the one that speaks up first and says, "My husband, the clans, the dwarves of Mirbar, they inch closer. My dream of the great storm, the omen of war. I believe that these dwarves will be the cause of it. You must convince the other clans, your clan, the Thunder Clan, and the Rain Clan, that we must prepare ourselves for dealing with them."
Don't you mean your clan? You were of the rain.
"No, I'm the lightning, silly."
No, I know, but you weren't always, my dear. You did kind of come in here and show your force that I was there.
"Yes, I have taken over the clan, but that is only because I had the great omen, the dream of storms. It means something is coming." And then she actually kind of gets like a bit heated about it, as she often does when speaking about the civilized folk. And in doing so, begins to cough. And you give her a moment, but she coughs and coughs and coughs and continues to just hack up a lung until she kind of looks away and wipes her mouth and "I'm sorry, husband. This sickness, it just won't seem to go away. But do not worry. I know I am fine." But as she says that to you, you can see that there's blood kind of dribbling from her mouth that she didn't wipe.
Yeah, and he takes out a cloth of some sort, not like not a hanky, but you know what I mean, that type of thing. And wipes the corner of her mouth and goes, "My dear, the thing is this. You're not getting better. It's been like this for months now. Nobody has a sickness for months unless you're dying. So I will be off on this journey to realign the tribes and to show them that they can believe in you. Because you do know, with the way that you took this over, there's a lot of distrust between the tribes at this time."
"Yes, and that's why they must not know that I am sick, my husband. Do not want to be seen as weak."
To be yours and I in my secret. I hope that this sickness doesn't change your ability to bear children.
"Never. That is my destiny, my husband." And then she kind of
As is
comes in and puts her hand around your head and kind of pulls it into her forehead, and you just feel her forehead kind of like touch against your mask. She says, "Do not worry about me. I am strong. The Lightning Clan are fierce warriors. I will not be taken down by some sickness. I do have a plan. Before you're off tomorrow, I would like you to meet up with me.
Sounds like a wonderful plan, my dear. And he does lift up the mask just enough to show from the nose down and kisses her on the forehead. And places the rag that has the blood on it in her hand and closes it. It's our secret, and I will never let another soul know.
She nods and says, yes, my protector. And with that, we're going to flash over further up the north as we kind of see the scene rapidly climbing up the cliffside, weaving in between the jagged rocks that reach out, and we travel many, many miles, and a couple of days flash by as we are torn from this scene up north. 2 days has now passed from the day that Sunlit lost her life. The storm has subsided a bit, but there's still this kind of peculiar icy rain that just won't let up for some reason. It just seems a bit weird, and even the distant kind of boom of thunder and flash of lightning lights up the sky. Livy, our fourth member of the party, is unable to join us today, but she did leave me a little message of what's been going through her mind. So I'm going to just say her behalf. Sorry that you couldn't make it today, Mary, but as the days have passed and Livy's been attended to, she was crushed by this giant boulder or this stone trap from the eye of the Allfather that would have taken her life if it wasn't for Octavius and his death ward. And in these past days, as the dragon cultists have been bandaging her up, she's like literally an entire body of bandages as 5 points of exhaustion has taken its toll. She's been filled with uncertainty that's been gnawing away at her mind the first couple of days that seem to just flash by. She wonders to herself if maybe it was her that was supposed to die. But she didn't die. Instead, it was Sunny. And she asks herself why. She asks herself, how could this happen when they were supposed to be the chosen ones, the heroes that were supposed to stop the ordning, that these people aren't the ones that are supposed to die, she wonders to herself. And her thoughts and questions kind of race as she wonders if they're actually the ones that are capable of fixing this giant problem that they have. A mentality that Livy isn't often faced with, kind of second guessing herself. But in these moments, in these troubling times, she begins to think that her grandpa Rin would always be the one that would tell her some story. And she remembers that Grandpa Rin believed that they were the ones capable of stopping this, and he's never been wrong before. As folks attend to her body and the days slip by, Livy actually recalls one of the stories that Rin used to tell her. And the story is that heroes were stuck in an impossible situation, as heroes obviously always are, much like they were just moments ago. And the hero of this story, Rock the Brave, a massive half-orc, led his party through an escaping dwarven ruin. She kind of thinks to herself how closely parallel these stories actually run. And they were facing off against a dragon that they recently defeated. But in the dragon's defeat, it disturbed the ancient ruins so much that a volcano began to erupt, and steam and lava hissed and bubbled as the party raced back through where they came. And there was this caged elevator that would not budge. So Rock the Brave motioned his party into the elevator and began pulling the chain to safely lift the party. But to the party's dismay, Rock was left behind. Livy wonders to herself why it was her and Warren that lived. But she realized in that moment that it was Sunny's sacrifice that allowed them to breathe now. Livy, after a few days, chooses to believe that Sunny is the only reason that they currently are standing, and that she chose to do this out of love. And Livy won't let that sacrifice go to waste, and she promises herself now that she will finish the quest that they started us for on. With that, she kind of changes, finishing butting up one of her coats as she's now changed into some proper formal wear. It's the day of Sunlet's funeral, and the weather has kind of slowed down enough to actually land the airship. And it's mountains for every direction that you can see. But there's this one kind of peak that just reaches out, almost like it reaches to the clouds, and if there was a sun that was beaming down, it would be beaming down kind of like this Pride Rock thing overlooking this vast kind of forest. And the party has decided that this will be Sunlet's kind of last resting spot. They'll put her as close to the sun as she possibly could be and let her watch over this forest. It's at this point that the body is brought out, probably in some kind of coffin or whatever the party has decided to do. The Dragon Cultist clan, Delphine, has elected to let you guys just have this moment between the four of you, or three of you. And I imagine, if you're cool with it, Octavius, that you would probably kick things off if you have anything you'd like to say on behalf of Sunlet.
Octavius would raise both of his hands above his shoulders in the air and look to his friends. And he would do his best rendition of prayers that he had read in the books of the library of his temple. He would recall stories of Sunlet joining the group and how they met. How for a while she loved to imbibe alcohol. How her fur had changed color slowly. How her joy of cats and griffins had gotten her friends along the way. You would recall the story of her breaking her katanas, I believe there were, and how she forged the new weapon that she had. How she had the strength to make her way through her addiction to feeling off and hoddery with her drink and her wine. And he would just, you could see in his face that he would be holding back tears the whole time, but other than that, it would just be a picture of strength and an example of how to get through something like this. That would be about it.
Absolutely. Livy kind of steps up next, and she smiles as she addresses the casket. The rock's kind of like built around, and she gives these final words to her fallen friend. She says, "Sunlet, you were fierce to the very end. You battled your demons, persevered, and even became the great white tiger. Your hunt here might be done now, but now you're up there. You're more nimble among the stars. You're watching over us as we continue on this hunt. Sunny, you'll be missed, but never forgotten. May your courage always linger with us." And then after that, she kind of steps away and smiles. And then there's this awkward moment where the other two kind of look at you, Warren Dow, like, are you going to say something? Or
Warren has remained silent. He has this look on his face, not one of anger, really, or his normal grumpy atmosphere about him, not even really one of sadness. It seems to be more a sense of disappointment. Again, he doesn't say anything. He'll listen politely to you, Octavius, though he doesn't seem really too interested in your deific ramblings. And he'll agree with Livy and honor Sunlit as best expected. But through all of this, inside he is thinking to himself, while he's never had the he believes he's never failed. He's had a sense of bad luck. Things haven't quite gone his way. He may have even died, but he's never actually failed in anything. In one way or another, he's pulled out in the end and got what he wanted out of the situation. Except for this. He knew what he needed to do, and he knew how he was going to do it to save Sunlit. But whatever gods there may be, fate would have it, things didn't go his way. And he takes that as almost like a personal attack against himself. A sense that he's not comfortable or not quite fully understanding how he didn't succeed. As somebody who has always gotten exactly what it was he wanted one way or another. So through all of this, he'll stand politely and go through all this, but he doesn't say anything. He'll stand off to the side, just stewing over his own failure more than anything else. It's probably a lot of snow around, right?
Yeah, it's snowing pretty heavily up here.
All right, so as everybody's getting back onto the ship or doing what needs to be done, he will offer reach down, gather up a bit of snow in his hands, packs it into a simple little snowball, and hurls it at her. She likes snowball fights. But that's about all he offers.
Absolutely. Kind of just chuck the last snowball as you look on at the airship. Everyone's loading in. Delphinine's kind of at the front of the ship looking down. After that, you kind of pick yourself up and hot air begins to fill up the balloon, this giant red balloon. You find yourself on this airship that looks much like a sleigh almost, but like a massive one that can hold up to, what is it, like 15 of you? And you guys begin, after a couple moments, everyone said their piece, to sail back up. You have a giant war to stop.
Did Octavius grab her weapon, or was she buried with her weapon or anything? Or
Octavius grabbed it the night before.
That's what I expect. Okay.
Yep. And you sail away. Livy, kind of at the back of the ship, looks over at this rock, and at this moment, a sun actually, kind of for the first time in many days, peeks out from the clouds, and a ray of light kind of shines down at the big rock where you see a couple of other boulders scattered around, where Sunlit lays. And she just says goodbye for now to her friend, and you kind of sail away. More days begin to pass as all you see is white and gray stone and snow endlessly. The spine of the world truly is albeit dire and remote area. It's impressive as you look around, and all you can see in any direction is mountains. We're going to say that at this point, we're going to jump forth actually 5 kind of days. You guys can take off. I'm not going to say all of the points of exhaustion, even though like technically you should. I'm going to say that since you like literally have every bone in your body broken, you can peel off 3 points of exhaustion, leaving you guys at 2 points of exhaustion right now, as some of the bandages finally begun to take off, and you can actually start to move around again. Delphine approaches the group and, well, Wardendell, it's been many days now, and we still have not heard what you've learned from the Oracle. What is our next move? We don't have long. The giants only get more aggressive as time goes on.
I will have to speak to my compatriots and find out what they think is the best time. I'll go check with them now, and we will be back just shortly. Just hold your loins together long enough for you to return there.
I will be coming with you. Don't want you to lollygag around. I know how you are. you'll probably turn this into some drawn-out affair. But for now, we're just kind of flying around aimlessly. We need to know what our next move is. So let's go talk to your friends at once.
Well then, come along, come along. You can walk ahead of me, it's okay.
I'll walk beside you. Now hurry your ass up.
Yeah, he'd lead over to Livy and Octavius. See.
What time of the day is it?
Let's say around noon.
Okay. Yeah, I'd just be sitting there, sharpening my, or buffing my armor, sorry.
Yeah, I'd head her over there and basically see what these guys want to do. Because
Well, Warren, best I can figure, we need to find a giant, one of them head giants, and make sure that we can get their conch. As soon as we can get their conch, we should be able to start figuring all this stuff out.
you look over at Delphine. You, perhaps your boss, my boss, whatever you wish to call him, can lead us to one of these giants so we can kill them and take their shit. That's what we need to do, apparently. We know that the Frost guys, they ain't got theirs, but perhaps what's the next closest?
Klaus will definitely know where you guys can find some giant lords, but he will not be fighting this battle. He's already told you that he doesn't want to dirty his hands with this. That is your job, and unfortunately for me, my job to at least bring you there.
It'll be a good time, don't worry.
So,
Won't your dragon friend be surprised that we possibly might have taken care of Emrith? Won't that be good enough? Now we can take over the world if you want. Leave us alone.
she laughs. You think you've taken care of the doom of the desert. Dragoness of statues. You're an amusing, empty-brained fool, aren't you?
You don't know our friends.
You don't know the dragoness of statues. But if you wish to speak to Klaus, we could head to one of these cities and contact him. He has many agents everywhere. And then looking at the map, actually, let me pull it up here.
So, unless you know where one of these dragon lords or giant lords are, that I will be the best.
I do not know much about
Quickest
these
anyway.
giant lords, but we can definitely get to the bottom of it. Mirabar is probably the closest from around here. From there, we'll get in touch with who we need, and we'll drive you, fly you to wherever you want to go. So, that's our plan. Unless you would like to go to anywhere else.
Nope. I will help speed the ship up, though. I'll use my little wind rune pendant thingy there to help speed the ship up a bit.
Absolutely. And you guys begin to just sail down the spine of the world southwards towards the city of Mirabar with the quest to find the location of a giant lord. Delphine would tell you that this is not going to be any easy task. You see, these giants are not like the dull-witted ones you've probably faced before. Giant lords are very powerful. You said that you've faced off against one already, haven't you, Jarl Strovad?
Aye.
I guess you've beaten at least one of them. So maybe you do stand a chance.
Hopefully we can trick them instead of having to beat them.
Well, I guess that's who you choose to battle then. Some giant lords will be easier tricked than others. As you begin to just kind of sail down the mountain, there's not like a whole lot for scenery going on, but for some reason this ice rain just won't seem to let up, and the distant boom of thunder seems to grow closer and closer and closer. Everyone give me a perception check on the ship.
12.
5.
5, yeah. 12 is enough to in the distance you see some kind of smoke of fire up ahead. You're kind of like sailing that way anyways, and as you do, you faintly, Octavius, see something kind of whip by the ship. Whatever it was flying incredibly quick.
Could I at least tell a size or any form of dimension?
With a 12, it was roughly like around your size, humanoid-ish.
Warren, something is in the air, my friend.
It's Delstephine's love. Don't worry, I feel it too.
She rolls her eyes. And what are you talking about, Octavius? And as you look around, all I see is stone, rock, and snow. There's nothing
Survey
out
the
here.
skies. Keep quiet. Open your ears and survey the skies. Something is with us.
Absolutely. As you kind of look around, a couple of the other cultists stand uneasy. They approach the ballistas and ready themselves. We're going to jump back over to Rick Liviant as you've woken up from your sleep. You realize that your tent is empty. Lorwyn has already must have woken up and gone about her day. But you do remember her speaking to you and saying that she would like to talk to you before you're off on the journey. So as you pick yourself up and go outside, still icy rain, you look around and a couple of the tribe members are attending the fires and getting rid of the snow and ice that's built up on the many tents. You look around and the current clan that you find yourself in, the Thunder clan, you know that actually Lightning, sorry, which is Lorwyn's clan, are all just going about their day. There's about maybe 20 people here. They look to you and just kind of give you a nod. As you look around, you don't see Lorwyn anywhere.
Okay. He would absolutely make his way through the town. He's a part of the village, but not really. He doesn't do work. He doesn't do anything like that. He is certainly there for one specific reason within the tribe as a whole, and he knows what his job is. I would think that maybe some people have some disdain for him for that, and he may not be, I wouldn't say badly they have no ill will towards him. It's just that a lot of people have to work really hard to maintain their lifestyle, and he just seems to be a part of that. And he would maybe walk up to the group and say, "Have you seen my wife today?"
One of them kind of just kicking off some snow on the tent. She woke up a lot earlier and headed off. Said she wanted to go hunting or something.
How long ago?
About an hour.
In what direction?
He points up the mountain. And you kind of instinctually know, actually, that there is a spot that she likes to go to. And you kind of wonder to yourself, because the story she told you last night of Asharia reaching out on the peak of a mountain and calling to Stromnus for aid. It's called Storm's Peak. Is legend to be really close by, and she often goes there during the day and just kind of thinks of Asharia, who was a Lightning Clan member herself, and so you're like, she might be there.
Yeah, and he would make his way to maybe the great hall where there would be food prepared, and gets himself a meal, and goes around the village to make sure that everything looks like it's in order, seeing that he is theoretically second in charge here, and would wait for the return of his wife before he leaves.
Absolutely. You are eating, kind of sit down. Everyone, a couple people pass you, and Egliviant, are you ready for your pilgrimage to unite the clans today? Is there anything that you need?
For I am. And you can see that he's moved the mask and it's sitting on the table. But the hood that he wears, he's covers kind of like Jedi-ish per se, so like it comes down a bit when he needs it to, so that he just he's striking looking and he doesn't want to have people fear him or anything like that. And so he's just looking down into his plate of food and takes a nice mouthful, consumes it, and says, I don't believe I need anything that anyone here can provide. I just need, if you could just have the hope that on this journey that I will be able to have everything aligned again. It is troubling times here within the tribe.
They nod, and let you go about your day. An hour passes, and Lorwyn still has not returned.
How far away is the spot that he knows that she should probably be?
Probably about like a 30-minute hike, 45-minute, almost an hour.
Yeah. He can move quite fast. Not as fast as Sonny could, but nobody moves that fast. But he would make his way out of the town towards that direction. And is it terrible weather, or is it just kind of normal?
It's just kind of like crummy. Like this rain hasn't let up for days now, but it's not like unbearable or anything. It's cold as hell, I guess. But you're a northerner, so
yeah. And for some reason, it doesn't look again that as if he's wearing very much. It looks as if it's just kind of robes-ish. You know what I mean? It's form-fitting. It is like pants and like, a top that again has a hood that's built into it, and he has the mask back on. But he's not cold, and it doesn't look as if what he's wearing gathers water. It's kind of strange. Not that it repels from him or anything like that. It just doesn't seem to soak into the clothing he wears. And he starts making his way up the path that he knows where she's taken him there before.
Mm-hmm.
He's been there himself. It's where he goes to talk to Stramus himself, and I would think that he would try to meet his wife there, or at least on the way back down, from a pilgrimage today.
You begin heading in that direction, and a few minutes past 30 minutes, you're getting close, to which point you hear Lorwyn actually, it seems like yelling at someone or something.
He would go a bit off of the path and kind of flank around where she is, so he can see what she's doing, but so that he wouldn't know she's there, so she wouldn't know he's there.
Okay. So do you want to get in close enough to hear what she's saying? Because it's kind of just like muffled at this point. But if you do want to like kind of flank in behind and get close enough to hear, it would actually it's echoey up here. So yeah, you guys, I'm just gonna say you flank in, and you approach her, and you see that she's standing on Storm's Peak, like reaching out, and she's actually yelling to the clouds, and you hear her yell, "Damn you, Stormness! Please, I am Laurelwyn, Mother of Storms. I need your aid. I cannot leave until you help me. I'm growing sick, and this great storm is returning. I can sense it. I have dreamt of the omen. I need your help in this time." And she begins to cough and cough and cough, and she kind of drops down to her knees now. You can actually see that she's kind of distressed. She's been up here for a while now, and this is a bit uncharacteristic for her. You've never seen this side of her, and she just kind of pounds on the stone, and then head looks up to the sky and just says, "Stormness, please aid me, cure me so I can lead the tribe through this storm that approaches." There is no answer but the howling wind.
Right, and I certainly think that he would, at this point, make his presence known and kind of walk up to her and go, "Is everything well, my dear?"
She kind of actually looks like shocked, like you caught her in this vulnerability. And "My husband, I'm sorry." And she actually wipes her face. There's a little bit of tears in them. "I was just here praying for your safe journey on your pilgrimage."
You were.
Yes.
And he isn't going to let on that he's heard what you said.
Absolutely.
And, well, I did want to see you before I left, so I will be on my way. Would you like to back to the village with me?
Yes.
And he kind of, oh, sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
And he kind of huddles towards her and takes her into his arms. And as he's walked up, he removes the glove in his right hand. And as he's done for many nights before, he even did last night when she's feeling the worst, he touches her on her face. And what's that? Oh, I didn't know what that was. Sorry. He touches her face and creates a little bit of healing within her that seems to make her feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Within, for at least, for even just a short period of time. And her color comes back a little bit better. Her eyes have been cloudy, so on and so forth. They brighten up a bit. And she feels a bit better. Again, it's not something that is healing her, but it's maybe just staving off the beast a little bit that is taking her vitality away from her slowly.
Absolutely. As you look back at the smoke from the tribe where you guys just came from, you begin to carefully go down your descent back down towards the your kind of like little town or village that you have. But as you're walking, you kind of hear the sound of this repetition, this repeating, almost like
okay.
You're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Look around. Give me a perception check.
All right. Give me just a second. Sorry. Just adding things I've noticed I have. Get to that. Oh, this isn't working well. He's awesome at this. Oh, actually,
there you go. You and Lorwyn spot at the exact same time, actually, because she rolled pretty good too. A giant red balloon carrying a ship in the sky And Lorwyn yells out, "It is the civilized men. They are here to steal the Noonstone. We must take them out at once, before they get too close to the sacred shrine."
Okay, so now this isn't something that we established, and because I don't know the answer to this. Where is that kept?
It is kept basically around the village that you're from, but it's a kind of like another location or a cave that only you know how to open.
Right. Even she doesn't know how to do that. Yes, my dear, and he would encourage her to do as he's done for her many a times, to kind of piggyback on the back of him, and he would very quickly make his way down the path in the mountain towards where the village is. Now, have we ever seen a vehicle like this before?
Up to you, but I highly doubt it.
Okay. Yeah. And as we're running, he would say to her, "That's a very peculiar vessel. Do you think it's? Do you really think it's the civilized men that are going to come here to get the Noonstone? Nobody even knows it exists, my dear."
Regardless, the civilized men and their machinations only greed for more benefit of themselves. If they're not here for it, then they'll simply find something else to take. And with that, a spear sinks into your leg and hits you. Right, Leviant? For 6 damage. Why didn't that go on you? Let me try that again. I'll just enter it manually. And as you turn around and look, you see flying towards you, and I said spear, sorry, it was a javelin, a great winged beast. Feathers like an eagle and a humanoid like kind of face, but also like it has a bird face, but it's this bipedal, it's an Aarakocra. I don't know if you would ever know what those are, but it has this kind of weird northern wear on, and it just is releasing our mid-end throw of a javelin. And as you look around, there's a couple other of these beasts flying around, and one of them squeals letting out this like hawk sound and begins to dive towards you. Another one comes up and tries to grab Lorwyn, rolling a contested check, and Lorwyn actually fails. So the beast grabs onto her and begins to tug. Roll initiative really quick.
Yeah.
And as we snap back to the party, Octavius just finishes saying everyone has to look around. And as you're all doing that, waiting in anticipation, something else whips by flying. This time everyone sees it, and you kind of follow it. And as you turn, you see that there's these bird-like men, Aarakocras, seemingly attacking 2 tribal-looking barbarians below. A javelin landed in the leg of a really big-looking man, and another beast is currently trying to pull a female off of his shoulders, to which point the other Aarakocra, this one donning robes and actually has a quarterstaff in his hand, begins to kind of just float right in front of you, its wings fluttering as it grabs onto a staff, and you see the endings of it casting a spell, and the storm of rain begins to intensify. You guys can roll initiative too.
Not 20 minus 1 for 19.
Nice. I'm going to give you guys a rest because you would have rested by now. And 19 on Octavius. Ba-bum.
We have any exhaustion still or no?
2 points of exhaustion, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Is there someplace on here that figures that in for us?
No, actually. There probably is. Go ahead.
No, sorry, you finish what you're saying.
There probably is, but I just don't know how to make it work on Fantasy Ground. That's the one thing I haven't figured out.
So I'm not sure what that gives me off the top of my head.
It gives you disadvantage on ability checks, and I believe half your movement. I'll confirm, but
Octavius never actually took exhaustion from the last episode, so
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
That was weird. My computer decided it wanted to take a nap there for 2 seconds.
Hey, we've all been there.
Hey, can you do me a favor and make my speed 40 because I get an extra 10?
Yep, I can do that.
It's something I can't change.
Where is your speed even? I don't even see your speed.
Yeah, it's right there in the middle where it says it's the
Got it.
initiative.
I got you.
Thank you,
10.
sir.
There you go.
All
All right,
right,
everyone in the initiative. No, I haven't seen. Oh yeah, I got to roll Livy too. Gosh darn it! And Wanda, I have not seen your initiative yet.
What I get? 12.
12. Okay. All right, and your initiative didn't go in, but you rolled a 19. So it's going to actually be Reich Leviant up first because you probably have the better dex mod than the -1. So go ahead. As you see these Aarakocra, one is currently landing in front of you and pulling out a... What is he wielding after he threw his javelin? His talons, actually. And the other one currently is trying to pull your wife off your back.
Yeah. And Rick would Reich, sorry, would pull the javelin out of his leg and not even show pain to it. You know what I mean? It's just he does what he does and turns around because again I said, she was on his back. As quickly as he can to maybe hopefully break the grasp of the creature in front of him, which I'm assuming doesn't happen. And the two of them release from each other, and she lands onto the ground, and the one is holding on to her. And I would like to rage.
Hey. You begin to fuel with anger as you see these beasts trying to take your sick wife away from you. You go into a rage, and then what do you do?
Okay, so strapped to his back is a very strange to probably the average person, being on on the plains. It's a double-ended weapon. On one end, it looks like very much a greatsword, but the other end has a spiked, nasty-looking maul on the other end. And he pulls it from his back, and he says, "You're gonna die for touching my wife." And I will attack twice.
Dig it. Go ahead and do so.
All right, first one's going to be with the blade. Yeah, that's got to hit.
Yep, I'll definitely hit.
All right, so that's going to be... Oh, well, here, we'll do that in a second. We'll do this first one. Okay, so that's 6 plus 6 plus 4, I think, right? Because I'm raging. So, and I don't know how to... I don't know how to make that extra damage go in there for the rage damage, but we'll just remember all the time. It's actually 3. No, it didn't go in there. But it's actually plus 9. So
15.
Yeah, so 15. And as he strikes this bird-like creature in front of him, from him and the weapon, there seems to be like a blue aura that comes out from his body and extends out. And as soon as he raged, it kind of was faint and you couldn't see it, but as soon as he struck, it from the weapon, lightning shoots from the weapon into the bird as well. And I'm going to roll another d6 because I get it. Well, no, he's got to make a DC 4 plus 2, 13.
13. All right, let's see what he's got.
13, and that is a. Let me make sure I do the right one.
He fails.
Oh, he failed regardless. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
D6.
so it's another D6. Ram.
All right, nice.
Another 5 damage. And almost like a person would use a staff, he kind of swings around with the other side of the weapon and swings the maul at him as well.
All right, go ahead.
19.
19's gonna hit.
Yeah, I can imagine so. That's 13 plus 2, 15 again.
Dang. All right.
And he needs you to make that save again.
All right. 16. I believe that's a pass.
Yeah, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. And I still roll. He takes half. So.
Yep.
So he takes an extra 1 damage, right? Because you.
Yep.
So as he strikes the bird the second time with the not sharp end of his weapon, he kind of impedes in between him, or tries to impede in between him, the bird, and his wife to try to protect her.
Absolutely. You rage and spin around and attacking twice as lightning and thunder begin to pulse off you. This aura of storm surrounding you. The bird squeals out in kind of anger as you strike. Octavius Wren, you're up next, and you see.
Actually, because again, I'm sorry, just trying to get used to this. How far away is that other bird?
The other one that's coming up behind you is about 15 feet away.
All right, that one would also have to have made those checks.
Oh, remember, it's only one person.
Oh, it's only one person. You're right. You're right.
Yep. Yeah, actually, I don't even think you could have done it twice now that I think about it, because I'm pretty sure you have to use your bonus action, but I'll give it to you for now.
Is it? I'll read it. Make sure I do it right next time.
But Octavius Wren, what do you do as a caster mage? Aarakocra summons a icy storm to swell, and as you look around, you see several other of these beast-birded men starting to surround your airship.
Seeing the crackle of lightning come from the ground, Octavius would initially just look over the edge of the boat. How many birds or Aarakocra does he see circling the 2 on the ground?
So far, you see immediately 2 on them, and it looks like at least another 2 are going to be heading that way.
Octavius would turn to Warren, wink, and say, "You take care of up here, can't you?" And with that, he would leap over the edge of the airship and start plummeting towards the ground. As he's in the air, Octavius will reach underneath his armor and into a leather pouch, and he will drink the potion of the dwarves that they met raiding Zephyros's tower. And all of a sudden, he will flash and land on the ground right in front of the barbarian. I believe the potion allows me to take great heights and flash into the position on the ground, just like the dwarves that raided Zephyros.
So that is a potion of temporary gaseous form. So you just tell Warrendale to look after the ship, jump out, and Warrendale, you kind of like run over to the ledge, like, what the fuck? We're like hundreds of feet high right now. And you watch him plummet down, and at the last second, boof, he turns into this poof of smoke that just kind of dissipates across the stone or ground. And then moments later, you begin to see his body start to take form again as he walks over towards one of these Aarakocra warriors. That was your bonus action.
I would turn towards this character that I see defending a woman, and I would say, "Me and my companions are friends. We're not with these birds." And then with that, I would cast Spiritual Guardian.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use the Spiritual Guardian to block the Aarakocra from attacking these 2 people that I've come into contact with.
Nice. So a Spiritual Guardian, let me look it up. I'm pretty sure it just creates an aura of like, let me just look it up. Spiritual Guardians. You call forth spirits to protect you around a 15-foot radius. And basically you start to see these angelic-like creatures swirl around you, and anyone caught in the radius that is an enemy to you must make a wisdom saving throw or take 3d8 radiant damage. And I believe it also, let me just double check. I thought it creates difficult terrain for them too, but I could be wrong. When you cast a spell, number of creatures unaffected, has their speed halved. Okay, interesting. So, and they have to make a wisdom saving throw. And at the start of its turn. Okay, so it has to make a wisdom saving throw. You catch the one warrior in it. You have a bit of distance to go before you get to the other two. But the one that was about to flank Reich Leviant is definitely going to have to make a save. He makes a wisdom saving throw and rolls a 7. So go ahead and do 3d8 radiant damage, Octavius.
13.
13, very nice. The creature getting ready to charge at Reich Leviant is instead just pelted with these angel-like specters. And as he turns around and sees you, he turns his attention to you and squawks out in anger. As next up in the initiative is the birds that have Lorwyn. And now that she has him grappled, she again is going to spend his turn pulling at her. And contested, wow. She actually frees herself this time, so she kind of drops down to the ground before the creature flies off, at which point it will make a swipe at her with its talons and hit, kind of clawing across Lorwyn's chest and dealing 3 damage.
I'm not within range for her to be able to use my reaction from the ring and take the damage from the bird's claw, am I, since she was able to disengage from it?
What is the range on it? I guess I should look because you definitely don't have that information. Let me pull it up. I'm removing your Skyfall potion, though, because you used it. And the Ring of Suffering, where is it? Ill Matters Burden, no, where is it? I can't find it, of course. As a bonus action, no. As a reaction, 30 feet once per day. Yeah, you can if you want.
Yeah, my job that I've taken on is to protect these two at all costs without knowing who they are. So I would like to take any damage that I can for both of them.
3 damage onto you. You can only use that once per day, though. So are you sure you want to take it for the 3 damage?
Yeah.
Okay. You suddenly see as the creature goes and claws, that's a strange man donning armor. Suddenly holds his hand up, and where the wound should go across Lorwyn's chest, instead you see blood just sputter out from the chest of this armored man. He's yelling out that he's not allies. Another Aarakocra drops down now in front of Lorwyn and begins to stab at her with his javelin, rolling a 14 to hit, which I believe does pass her just basic hide armor.
If he is within 50 feet of me, he needs to make a wisdom.
He's not in 30 feet, 15 feet. Sorry, these guys aren't. But when you move your next turn, you'll be able to put them in it. Lorwyn takes 6 damage this time as those two are up. Another pack of 2, which is going after this ship, is going to actually, to your dismay, Warrendell, start throwing their javelins at the red balloon that is currently giving your ship flight. And they roll a natural 20 on the first strike and 11 on the second. So the natural 20 is definitely going to hit the balloon and deal double damage. And you see as it just chucks the spear, pop, it just hits the balloon, and it doesn't like full on Looney Tunes explode it, but you start to hear the whining of air escape the balloon as it has penetrated it. Lorwyn is up next, and she is going to pull out a great axe and start swinging. Kind of caught off guard, she rolls a natural 1. Her axe kind of flies out of her hand. She rolls over to it, though, picking it up again, and with an 18 finds purchase, striking back at one of these beasts that are trying to grab her, and actually killing one of them. The one that was most bloodied by you, Reich Leviant, And as she deals the killing blow, chopping off the head of this Aarakocra, it just lets out a last squeal of anger, and then suddenly bursts into hundreds of pieces of ice, just shadowing. Next up is Warrendel. There is a mage that looks like it is about to start casting spells and kind of just flying in the air about 40 feet away from you. And two other invaders or warriors that are pelting javelins.
How far away are they from me?
They are like 15 feet away from the ship, but they're above, kind of at balloon level.
Are they within 30 feet for a spell?
Yes, they are.
Right. Warren looks at this mage off into the distance. He hesitates a moment, his hand reaching down towards something, kind of shrugs instead. I'm going to use one of my sorcerer points to cast Fireball as a bonus action on him first. Is he in the... Yes, he is. Let me see if it works. Firebolt on the mage. I don't know if that hit or not, or if it tells me.
Yeah, it's a hit on it.
All right. Hopefully that applied to him. I'm not sure if it did or not. But yeah, you can see just a simple little spark of magic in fingers as it rips off towards this thing. Just a quick little blast, almost as a warning, just to get his attention as he smiles back. His real focus, though, is on these other two pelting this balloon. He stares at him, his image seeming to kind of twist and distort a little bit as they look upon him. And I'm going to hit with fear on them. They need to make wisdom saves DC 18.
Okay. Dang.
I don't know. I can't roll that onto them, I don't think. It doesn't have any...
Yeah, you could, but it's okay. I can just do it this way. 4 and a 1, or 2 and a 5, sorry.
So what does it do? Let me see. While frightened from the spell, creature must take the dash action to move away from you from the safest route possible, and they get wisdom saves on each turn.
Okay. Yeah, so they see you and suddenly become terrified as your energy begins to darken around you. Your eyes begin to glow, and they are second-guessing themselves for sure. Anything else on your turn?
Nope. I'm going to save my other one for if I need it, so I'm good.
All right, two more of these warriors suddenly kind of fly by, powerful thrust of their wings as they come towards the ship. You see the dragon cultists trying to train their ballistas on these creatures. They don't really have much in the form of range, but they move incredibly fast. And while I'm thinking about it, I got to pull them into initiative 2. Let me just get this, and of course I can't find it. Let's do that. That'll just be a reminder to do them when they're up. And two more of these creatures are going to, one, fly up towards the balloon and rake its talons right into the hole that was just created. This time actually tearing into it really good. And you start to hear the wind escaping at a rapid rate now. Everyone on the ship make a dexterity saving throw. And I guess that's just Warren and Livy. Let's make a dexterity saving throw. She rolled an 18. What did you roll, Warrendel?
Oh, I don't know. I just put it in the chat. 14.
14? All right. You are knocked prone and start to just kind of like slide across the ship towards the railing. You look around, and a couple of the other dragon cultists are also thrown over. The ones on the ballista are actually throwing like off and start skidding towards you also as the ship starts to just lose momentum and height very rapidly. You see Delphine, who rolled absolutely terrible, actually get flung overboard and then grab onto the railing at the last second, and she's just kind of hanging there. Next up is the second attack of the Aarakocra, who are going to dive down and then throw a javelin at the men prone that were near the ballistas, and it lands its strike. Both of them. I guess it can't do 2 strikes because it has 1 javelin. So it javelins one of the cultists and just poof, right through the gut. These guys aren't the beefiest of ones. Delphephine's the most competent of the group. Kills one of the dragon cultists. The warrior that was going to face off against Reichlevent, but now is being berated by spiritual guardians, is going to make a wisdom saving throw as it tries to jump out of the way of these creatures. It rolls a natural 1, so go ahead and do another 3d8 damage, Octavius. While you're rolling that up, he is going to go on his attack, though. And what he does... 19, nice. That stings for sure. Puts him at that, into a bloodied stance, actually. But as he does, you begin to see him just fuel up with anger. And this warrior actually rages, much like to your surprise, Reichlevent, the same way that you kind of do, and you begin to see its channel energy in its anger, and it pulls out this giant great axe. And I've done something terribly wrong with this character because it says he has plus 42 to hit. That's what it is. He has 88 strength for some reason. Let's fix that. There we go. And he begins to go into a frenzied rage as he just swings violently at you, Warren or Octavius. Rolling a 18, 18, and 26. Which I believe is going to
everything above 18 hits me.
All right. So it does a total of. Let me just drag this on you. Actually, it's easier that way. That way you don't have to channel it yourself. First strike, dealing 9 damage. He rushes in, kind of just body checking one of these spiritual guardians. It dissipates as he charges through it. That lets out a powerful strike, cutting into your knee. You fall back as again 2-hand swings over top of you, this time landing for 8 damage. You block it with your weapon, but still it kind of pierces through. And then the final strike, as he spins you around, comes down for another 7 points of damage. As that is it for him. Next up in the initiative is the mage, who is going to cast a spell, obviously. And Wandel, give me a wisdom saving throw. That is what I like to see. The bird points at you and begins to just kind of squeak and caw, and suddenly you're overcome with the hilarity of this caster bird, and you are already at the ground, but you continue to stay prone and burst out into laughter as it casts Tasha's hideous laughter at you. You can't seem to stop laughing, and although you get the severity of this fight, you just look at Delphine, who's hanging on the railing. Someone help me! And you just laughing hysterically as you see her there. Livy is up next. And she will pull out Maiden's Garden, but not before picking herself up and kind of stabilizing herself. She sees this bird cast a spell on you and lines up, and she's going to go with a fire arrow because why not? And shoot 2 shots, missing with the first one, and oh my goodness, missing with both, a 10 and an 11, as 2 poof, poof, shots from the crossbow fire out. The bird just kind of flutters one way and then spins and dodges the next arrow, as that is Livy's 2 strikes. And I don't necessarily know everything Livy can do, but I think it's just 2 strikes. She's actually in the chat, I see. Hi, Mary. Hope the movie was good. But I think that's it for Livy. Next up is more of these birds, which are going to fly down and start to harry you, Reichlevent, stabbing at you twice, rolling a 23 and a 17 to hit. You take a total of 6 damage. And you can add that, or can you add that? Yeah, you can add it. You've already done that. That is it for them as they kind of like land now. You're trying to get to Lorwyn, who is battling one of these creatures, but 2 more land on top of you. And that puts up next the cultists who are going to pick themselves up and try to get on the ballista. They've now have it fully loaded, and they're going to fire it at one of these damn birds, they say, and boof, a powerful kind of harpoon fires and hits one of these creatures, and much like the first one that you've seen, shatters it into a million pieces of ice. That is it for it. Let me see here. What's going on here? Do that. And that is down to 1. Okay, next up in the initiative is Reich Leviant. A lot of stuff is going on. 2 bird Aarakocra men are currently stabbing at you with their javelins, and one more is fighting Lorwyn, who has just recently slayed one of these creatures, but another is still on her. Also, you see the airship beginning to plunge down towards you, this giant machination of men suddenly losing velocity and heading towards you in a rapid direction. These Aarakocra are just all around now. You don't know where they came from.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that, my wife and I are back to back or whatever. So she's right there within range of me, right? Can you hear me? Did I not unmute myself?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh,
I was
okay, okay, cool. I just wasn't sure if I had muted myself or not. And all right, I'm gonna use another ability. It's an action, so it is what it is. But I'm already raging, so oh, but if I don't, then I'll lose my rage. Fun. Yeah, no, I'm gonna swing. As a bonus action, I'm going to turn my aura on properly this time. And it is every hit. So it's just I have to activate it every round as a bonus action.
Okay.
So yeah, so I activate the aura. So anybody within 10 feet of me right now, I can choose and do that extra damage to. And then if I hit, we know it does. We know what it does. So we're gonna do things. So he again starts with the blade side. It seems to be maybe the technique that he uses.
Yep.
I am going to not do that right a second. I'm going to take advantage of those because I'm going to go reckless.
Hey.
Reckless attack. Means they have advantage against me, but I don't care. My wife is in trouble.
Swing away, my friend. Good thing you took it. Hit.
Wow. Yeah. And that is that. Okay, right. So 11 plus 2, plus 3, so it's 14.
Yep. I'm assuming you're going after the one that's after Lorwyn, or are you attacking the ones that are attacking you? She would say that she's fine. Defend yourself.
Yeah, and that's fine. No, I'll attack one of the ones that are in front of me. Okay. I've seen my wife fight before. This is nothing new. Yep. So one of them, it doesn't matter because neither of them are damaged, right?
Nope.
Okay, well, one of them is now. One of the one that I attacked needs to make a DC 13 dexterity saving throw.
18, so half damage.
Yeah.
2.
Okay, so once again, lightning comes out of the weapon and strikes it as well, and he hits it again with the other side of the weapon. Oops, and it's gonna hit, but let's see if I crit because I should have done advantage because I'm reckless right now. No crit. I didn't. And no crit, so we'll go like this. Ooh, that's a good hit. So that's 20 damage, and then DC. Did you roll it?
Yeah, it passed again.
Pass again. Okay. And yeah, so 1 damage more. So 21.
Yeah, the creature is very badly wounded, and as you cut into this thing, it very much feels like a flesh and blood creature. which is kind of strange to you because you just watched one shatter into ice chunks. But it engaged in battle with you as you take this weapon that you hold, one end a kind of long sword, and you cut through as the storm begins to swell around you. Lightning bolts flicker off and hit into the creature, spinning it around to the back end of it with a giant maul on it. You kind of just bash it in the head as another storm around you begins to grow in radius 20 feet now, just kind of swelling and sparking around you. Another bolt hits the creature. Is that it for your turn?
Yeah, and he would just roar like unnecessarily loud at the creatures in front of them, just to try to gain their attention.
All right, Octavius Wren, you're now engaged with a raging barbarian birdman. What do you do as it just is like recklessly swinging at you over and over again with his great axe, putting you on the defense?
Octavius will, just basically hold his hammer in front of him, trying to block any blows that are coming in. As he slowly tries to edge his way closer to the two new companions on the ground, so that his spiritual guardian encompasses them as well. And then he'll take his war axe and he'll lift it high above his head, and with his divine strike will bring it down upon this creature with a 12 and 19 to hit.
That will do.
All right, so that's 2d8. So that is 12 damage.
12 damage, nice. You guys hit like trucks now. Yeah, the creature very badly injured again, but does not seem to be letting up on the fight. It just seems to be like you're making it more and more angry each strike that you get in on it. Now, you say you're wanting to inch closer, but technically while you're engaged in combat with this thing, you can't really move unless you provoke an opportunity attack. I will say that if you're like kind of stepping along with this, that you can travel about 5 feet closer, which still puts you... It puts you about 10 feet away from getting the other birds in your spiritual guardian, but you can start inching your way that way if you don't want to provoke opportunity attacks.
Yeah, I'll just take the 5 feet at a time then.
Okay. All right. Next up is the Air Crocra on Lorwyn, and it is going to stab at its... why does it have disadvantage? Oh, wait, no. This is... Yeah, why does it have disadvantage on it? Oh, that's why. Interesting. Get out of here, you. You don't have disadvantage on your attacks. So roll again. It misses Lorwyn as it stabs with the javelin. She kind of just spins out of the way with just lightness to her step. You see that blood is now kind of dripping out of one of the wounds, though, as she fiercely lets out a battle cry that matches your own ferocity, Reich Leviant. Next up are the ones that are afraid on the ship, and they're just saying, fuck that shit, and they begin to fly away, traveling a total of 100 feet away because they fly really fast, and then making wisdom saving throws to see if they're still afraid of you. The first one is an 18, which I believe will probably get out of the way.
I think that's the number on the bottom.
All right, and one is a 10, so one feared, one not feared. Okay, that's it for its turn, though, as it wasted it. It can't really... Can it throw a javelin? No, it already threw its javelin, so it's done. Okay, Lorwyn is now up, and she will swing at this creature. Dodging out of the way, she kind of rolls down to her knees and then swings at its ankles. The bird, however, has an AC of... Okay, it hits. Chopping into the leg of this creature, she deals a total of 10 damage. And passing over to Warndell, you're laughing hilariously as you see Delphine clinging on for life. Falling at this height would definitely kill her. The ship is rapidly falling. You're the first one to act on the ship, actually. So give me a dexterity saving throw at disadvantage.
Where's the disadvantage button? And dex. 7 and 7.
Yeah, so as you're just like laughing, kind of belly rolling around, you're just getting the ship is rapidly dropping feet by the second, and you're just kind of sent from one end of the ship to the other, rolling and tumbling, laughing each and every foot that you go. But you see that you're beginning to rapidly fall towards the back end of the ship and threaten to fall out. You're now as you do this, hit into like the railing and are just on the ledge. If you don't get to the bottom of this issue quickly, next turn you'll definitely be going overboard. What do you? I think that all you can really do actually is
I can't do anything.
Just laugh. That's all I can do.
15. Let me check his DC. I think that might not be high enough, to be honest. Fuck. Where is he? He has a 2 plus that is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, you're good. 14 is a safe, so you're good. You bust out of the laughing. You now see that Delphine is about 15 feet away from you, barely hanging on. You see Livy is just kind of like standing there, like legs spread, trying to keep footing and shoot off her crossbow, which obviously she's having a hard time doing as she's falling really quickly. And she kind of yells out to you, "Warren, we got to do something before we crash." That's it for your turn, though, unfortunately. So another one of these Aarakocra are going to begin to battle. These are the ones on Reich Leviant. I'm going to target you so I don't have to think about this next time. And they are going to begin to stab at you. Rolling a nat 1 on the first one, but a 19 to hit on the second. Reich Leviant, you take a total of 11 damage.
Yeah, but that would be halved.
Halved. Yep, sorry. You're right. That's why I shouldn't drag it on you. So minus 5 puts you at 12. Okay, the warrior is going to make a wisdom saving throw, or the barbarian, to see if he takes more spiritual damage. He hits you, Dan. You got to give me 3 con saves now that I think about it.
3 con saves?
Yeah, because spiritual guardians is constitution or concentration.
Okay, so that's a 16.
Good.
That's another 16.
Good.
And that is 12.
12? 12 is still good because he didn't deal that much damage to you. So he makes a 16 on his wisdom saving throw. Is that a fail or a pass?
He passes.
All right, half damage on your 3d8s.
Okay, give me a sec.
You might actually kill him.
4 and 6 is 10, and 5 is 15.
15. Half of 15 is 7. Ooh, he's barely hanging on. He begins his charge not before another spiritual guardian swings on by. It's kind of like these rotating spirits that just continually hit into them, and another one just checks into him, knocking him to his knee. He picks himself up, though, letting out a battle cry, and comes in with his great axe once more. 11 is going to miss, chinking into your armor. A 13, you now have the upper hand as he's bloodied, backing away another one of his strikes. But kind of getting overconfidence in the moment, he lands a 26 to hit and slashes into you for a total of 13 more damage, bloodying you, Octavios.
Or laughing.
Absolutely. The mage now being up, it sees you, Warrendell, break the spell. And in its bird mind, it thinks not so fast, and will cast on the ship a spell that each creature must make a dexterity saving throw. Okay, interesting. Let me just double check this. Creature, blah, blah, blah. Half on the saving throw, hailstones. Begin to channel this icy storm as it casts Ice Storm. Give me a dexterity saving throw, Warren. I'll do Livy's right now. And then I'll do the clans. Or the cults. You guys both make it. Delphine, is in big trouble now, for sure. Fails, and then the cultists pass. So you guys are going to take, where'd that spell go? If you passed, half damage, as it does. Creature takes that and that. That's a really weird spell. It does 2 different types of damage.
What types? Because I'm got resistance against a couple.
It's cold and bludgeoning.
Okay, I'm good.
All right. So a total of 9 bludgeoning damage and 13 cold damage. So I think you just half that. A total of 22 damage halved. All right. That is 11 damage on Livy. Did you do it to yourself, Warren? I think you did.
Yeah, I got it. Yep.
All right. A couple more of the cultists are taken down, and Delphine, let's see if she hangs on. Strength saving throw. Hangs on for dear life, but is pelted badly as this storm begins to just swell, and these icy rain begins to turn into giant hailstones that now slam into the side of the ship, making matters even worse. That is it for him. Livy is up, and she yells out that we are going to crash soon if we don't do something, and fires Maiden's Garden twice more. 15, I believe.
Actually, she said she rolled. She sent rolls in the thing.
She sent rolls in the thing? Where?
Yeah, in the chat.
I do not see. I fire, you roll my attacks. I do not see any rolls, and she's not in the chat anymore. So.
Oh, well, she was. It was an 8 plus 6, and then 18 plus 6.
Oh, really? I don't even see that.
Yeah, it's just up. It's up a ways, but whatever. If you don't, you just want to do it yourself.
Yeah, no, that's fine. What was the rolls for this turn at least?
An 8 plus 6, so 14, and then an 18 on the die. It was
18 would have hit, but the mage reactionary cast shield on itself, boosting its AC up.
It's way more than that. It's 18 plus 6.
Okay.
18 on a die, and then a 6.
Yeah, I feel you. Okay, that will hit then. No shield is casted. Yeah. And Maiden's Garden does 10 damage to the creature. Next up is the invader that is fighting Lorwyn. Nope, that's not right. It is the one that is fighting the ship. And it is going to dive down and try to stab into you, Warndale. Rolling at 19 to hit. That is going to do. I'll damage you as you take 4 points of damage. Another one whips around and tries to stab into Livy. And that is going to hit Livy also. And she takes 5 points of damage. As we're back to the top of the initiative, the cultists and Delphine hang on for dear life, as now it is just becoming an absolute issue to hang on. And Delphine barely clings, but a couple of cultists are thrown overboard. Reich Leviant, you're now up.
All right. Where does it look like that ship is going to land?
It's definitely coming right towards you guys, and you're kind of on like the cliff side right now. So it's either going to slam into your general area or go right over the cliff and plummet like thousands of feet.
Yeah. And how high up is it at this point?
It is about 100 feet up.
So 100 feet up there. Okay. All right. Yeah, there's not much I can really do with the ship, so I am going to continue. Oh, I'm going to cast my auras in my bonus action, and I will attack again.
All right.
And so in front of me, I have 2.
Yes.
One is very badly damaged.
Yes.
And one that hasn't been hit yet. Correct. All right. I'm gonna reckless again. So that'll be with advantage. I like Fantasy Grounds. Does all kind of fun stuff for you. Ooh, that's too bad. So yeah, so that is that. And 14, 17 damage, straight slashing damage. DC 13.
All right.
Dexterity.
Coming at you real quick.
All right, I am swinging. I'm swinging at the one that has been undamaged.
Okay, good to know. It rolls a 15 on the die.
Actually, and then because I can do anybody that's inside my aura if they're both standing in front of me, this damage is actually going to go to the other guy. Yeah.
Okay.
That's 3 damage to him.
That is enough to shatter him into 100 ice pieces.
Okay. And then I am going to swing again with the blunt end. Oh, yeah, let me roll again because I'm reckless. Which I know that's not very good. Oh, but that's very good. And barbarians are sick. 13, and then he needs to make the save.
Yep. Actually, that kill? 20. No, it doesn't kill him. What am I talking about? I'm really bad at math. It does injure him, and save is a natural 19 on the dice.
Yeah. And you can't half one, so it's still 1.
Yeah. Very nice.
And again, there is still one in front of my wife, right?
Yeah.
Now she's within 5 feet of me, right? Like she's right next to me.
You're back to back, and you're kind of fighting 2 of them, and she's
one of them now because I killed one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just stay where I'm at. I was thinking I might stand around and stand in front of her, but but then there'll be one on the other side of her, so it doesn't matter.
Octavius, you're now up as the barbarian on its last leg is trying to finish you off. You both kind of bleeding now.
I again will strike with my hammer and divine strike.
Okay.
Oh, for a nat 20.
Nice.
Nice, dude.
Okay, so that's 3d8, I think, eh?
Double the dice, whatever you normally roll.
That was 48 then.
And you also double the dice on the divine strike. Any dice is doubled.
God, math, no. 7, it's 12.
12 damage?
Yeah, I didn't roll very good on the first one.
All right. How do you want to kill this guy?
As we're going back and forth, strike to strike, Octavius, finds an opening, sees a small chink in the armor around the neck of this Aarakocra as he's swinging in his wild, reckless strikes of the barbarian rage. And my hammer finds purchase in this spot, and it basically just breaks the neck and separates the neck and spine of this creature in front of me. It falls in front of me. At this point, Octavius will turn, and not in any threatening form of way, but he will take a few steps closer towards these 2 new people that he's taken on to defend, encircling them with his spiritual guardian.
Yep. And you choose who the spiritual guardians go after. So, right, Leviant, you see these spiritual angels kind of start circling around you, but not harrying you in any way. But then as you look at this man just slowly kind of walking towards, you see one of them as the guardians are spinning around, slam into the Aarakocra that you guys are engaged in, and will begin to mess them up next round. Which is going to start happening right now as one tries to go and attack Lorwyn. It is caught by the side as one of these guardians comes slamming into it, and it rolls a success on the dice. I accidentally rolled twice, but both were a success anyways. So go ahead and do 3d8 damage, Dan, while I'm doing my attack.
13.
13 halved is that. It tries to attack Lorwyn, but is completely taken by surprise as the Guardian just goes through it. It flutters down to the ground, rolling over. Lorwyn looks on in cautious kind of suspicion of you approaching, The other two now are going to go after the ship, which is now plummeting. It sees that the ship is kind of gonna apparently fall to their own death. This is the guy that's feared, actually. So one is going to fly away as far as it can again and make a wisdom saving throw. So now 200 feet away from the ship and still afraid. The other one is going to dive bomb down and go after you, Octavios, leaving the ship to its own demise, rolling a 21 to hit and damaging you for.
Would he enter my spirit guardian?
Yeah, he would, you son of a bitch. So good catch. He failed. Go ahead and do max damage. I already did the damage to you.
18 on that one.
Whew. Nice. Puts him at that. Very badly injured as he's unsuspectingly caught by these guardians that now are defending you at like every angle, cutting off flanks and whatnot. Lorwyn picks herself up, swinging at the guy that was taking this moment of opportunity. She doesn't disagree with the help and chops into him and bloodies him. Warrendale, you're now up. Give me a strength saving throw. Sorry, is what I should have been doing to keep your footing now as the ship is going all kinds of downwards. You got to kind of hang on. All right, you are sent overboard. You're now flying in the air. What do you do?
I like to fly. That's cool.
Are you still laughing too? No, you overcame the laughter.
No, I overcame laughter.
Well, question is, how long do I have until I hit the ground?
You fall at a rate, I believe, of 500 feet per second, but that's kind of not applicable here. So we'll say 100 feet. You have you have until the end of the round. So, because I guess 100 feet, you're falling pretty quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So to the end of to the beginning of his next turn, basically.
Yeah. If you don't solve this issue by the beginning of your next turn, then you're gonna splat.
Okay. Well, I don't have to worry about the guy that's on me then, apparently. So, well, what about Delphine?
She is somehow barely hanging on, but she's almost one bad roll and she's gone overboard.
Okay, I'm not worried about her right now either. All right. So I'll go over the edge. Doesn't seem like it really phases me any. As I look up, I'm going to blast this mage with another firebolt because I don't like him.
Don't like him.
Let's see, firebolt, mage, boom.
26 to hit. That's probably going to get through.
I think that's applied the damage, so that's done. And
yeah, he's pretty badly hurt now.
Let me double check if this is a bonus or a.
Oh my gosh.
So okay, yeah. So he's badly damaged. As a bonus action, I am going to do the same thing. I'm going to use a sorcerer point.
Yep.
And that way I can get rid of this guy, hopefully. Oh, maybe? No, I don't know.
That would normally hit, but I think he can. Yeah, he can. Yeah. He'll cast Shield for real this time and boost his AC up to block it.
Can I use an inspiration point
to roll an advantage?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Let's do that then.
You got to beat a 20.
Never mind then.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, you send 2 bolts of fire. Go ahead.
That's it for my turn. But at the beginning of my next turn, when I hit the round, I can, as a reaction, do slow or whatever's called slow fall. So.
Okay. The Aarakocra that are fighting you and Livy, these two are not going to let up, actually, as one goes for you, Warrendale, rolling a 15 to hit.
As he's falling?
Yeah, he's just going to dive bomb after you.
Okay, oh yeah, he flies.
Yeah. 15 hits?
I don't think, I think it's 16. 16 at the moment, yeah.
Okay. Lucky day for you then. And on Livy, also a miss. These guys are rolling badly now. The mage, as these fire bolts come flying across, as you now are both engaged in like aerial battle, he's kind of just hovering there, casting spells. You send out 2 quick fire bolts, one pounding into him, the other he shields, keeping himself on the brink of life. And with that, he will channel another one of his spells. I got to remember to check off the fact that he's been casting spells all along, so that's done. And he also casted a shield, so that's done. So what does he have left? Some good stuff still. Interesting. He will begin to fly towards you and then suddenly disappear. And then behind you, you hear the loudest thundering boom that you ever heard. It's as if a thundercloud just went off right beside you. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
Man, I'm rolling horrible tonight.
You fail as he casts Thunder Step. He disappears and then appears right behind you. This loud, deafening boom as you take 20 damage.
Got it.
And then that's his action, so he can't really do any other bonus actions things, I don't think. No. Okay, that's him. Livy is up, and she is going to, with one of these guys, I guess make a strength saving throw. Livy. She's not very strong. 12 is sent overboard also, but yeah, she's just actually sent overboard too. So now she's in a free fall. And the Aarakocra is kind of chasing after her as she does so. But what can she do in free fall? She knows that you're capable of manipulating the air. So she's going to yell out, "Warndell, coming in quick." And Misty steps, poof, bamps right in front of you now. Kind of back to back with you in free fall. She will pull out her rapier. Hopefully you're cool with that, Livy, and do, I believe, 2 strikes and hit with one as she stabs the mage in the face now, who's boomed over to you. Rapier coming through as it tries to engage in just grabbing you and dive bombing. Suddenly, Livy behind you, arm comes over your shoulder, stabs into the mage's face, and it shatters into a million pieces. As she kind of says, "Hey, I got your back now. Hopefully you got mine." And you both begin to free fall. Invaders against Reich Leviant. One left on the brink of death is going to stab into you. 21 to hit, Reich Leviant.
Kill the guardian, whatever thing.
Yep, thank you. Oh, I might not even get the strike. If it does hit you, you're going to take 6 damage. I've already halved it, but first saving throw. 11. Go ahead and do damage.
12 plus 4 is 16.
So this creature comes in on your flank and gets ready to stab into you with its javelin, when suddenly you see one of these spinning guardians come right towards its face, and then as it looks over at the last second, head-on collision with this angel and just shatters into 100 pieces as it doesn't get to strike you. Next up is Delphine, who is one of the only ones hanging on for dear life still. Strength saving throw. Finally, Delphine is flung overboard as you hear her kind of let out this scream. She is going to begin free fall. Reich Leviant, you're now up, as on you there is one fighting Lorwyn.
Mm-hmm.
And that is it.
Okay. So, Reich would look at the armored man in front of him and go, "Are those with you?" Been pointing to the 3 falling people in the sky now. Well, more than that even. But
Yep.
Yeah.
They're with me.
Right.
And I would look kind of embarrassed.
Yeah. So as my action, I'm going to cast Radiant Soul,
Okay.
and the wings will come out again.
All right.
And I will. I'm going to catch them. Okay.
And who do you want to catch? Do you want to catch the Warrendale, Livy, who obviously you don't know, but there's two individuals. But then there's also like a whole scattering of like other people being thrown overboard. Delphine and then the cultists. You know none of these people, so you just see a bunch of people in free fall.
Are there any that are more important to you? As I
those two girls and the weird looking grumpy guy.
Okay, so one of them looks male, and that's fine, and the other one looks female. Those two are really close to each other.
Yeah, they're like basically like free falling, like arm in arm.
Yeah. And he doesn't know anything of what's going to happen because I don't want to meta. I'm gonna take care of the one above, and I would like to fly. I can let him fly 30 feet.
Yep,
So
but you can dash
like
action.
Yeah, I would like to fly towards the one that's the highest, which is Delphine, that I know who it is. Corey does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would like to try to catch her.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you're not quite in range, but you could basically like put yourself in the path. And basically warned or Octavius, you see this man as he engages in combat with you. He's just this masked barbarian, proving to be like a pretty impressive warrior. Like this storm was like crackling around him, zapping people. And then suddenly these majestic, like blue ethereal wings just shoot out from his back as his mask grows even brighter with this blue energy. And then suddenly woof, the wings kind of thrust and he begins flying up in the air towards Delphine, who's in free fall. That's probably it for your turn. So you're now up, Octavius.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, because I can't do that as a bonus action. So.
Yep.
And my rage drops because I didn't attack this turn.
Watching this sight in front of Octavius, he would kind of be in surprise, but say inside of his mind, "We'll possibly save the right guy on that one." And then he would turn to the female counterpart of the one who just flew away, and he would slowly walk and say, "Hello, my name is Octavius. I think my friends will be fine now. Are you okay? Is there anything I can do for you? I have some power of healing."
She's still engaged with one of the air croakers, actually. And as she's battling it off in fierce combat, she kind of, through it all, says, "Do not touch me, civilized man. I am a capable warrior."
All right, with that, I'll pull my crossbow and fire a bow at the air croaker she's in battle with.
Okay. Go ahead.
That's a 9.
9. It misses. I should roll to see if it hits her, but I'll be nice. Anything else on your turn?
No, I'm just kind of keeping my eyes on the air and watching right off this bird.
Wisdom saving throw from the air croaker from your spiritual guardian. 13 is a fail, I believe. So go ahead and do damage.
5, 7, 12, and 3. So it's 15.
15. Again, another one of these guardians shatter this bird into 100 pieces. The other one is now the feared one, and the one that is free falling down. Oh yeah, this guy dropped in on you also, Warren Octavio. So you got one on you too. But the feared one is going to dash. It's 300 feet away. It finally, or no, that fails. So it is just feared forever. The other one is going to try to javelin you, Octavios. Missing. You kind of forgot that he was there. Like, oh yeah, wisdom saving throw. Go ahead and do the damage.
Yeah, I love this spell, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, it's becoming real useful right now.
That's 8 plus 6 is 14.
Another of these air croaker tried to stab into you, but is shattered into a million pieces. As you're literally just kind of like walking in all slow and like epically, like, I am Octavio, so I'm here to save you. And then your spirit guardians are just like spinning around, smashing these creatures as they try to get to you. Lorwyn then turns her back to you now and kind of yells out, "My husband, why do you go and save these civilized people?" and then she points her axe at you, Octavius, and says, "You are not welcome here on this sacred land."
Well, that's a thanks and a howdy do.
Warrendale, you're now up. Livy is in free fall with you. You literally have to do something right now, or you both are splatting.
So I'll let you decide, because I kind of funked them, but I have Wind's Grasp, so as a reaction, when you fall, you can cause yourself to take no damage. Can I, like, grab Livy and do that, or does that not count for her?
I'd say there's a chance of it counting, but since the extra person is there, you might take some damage. So basically, you get, like, the momentum, but since there's more weight, it's kind of pulling you down quicker.
Gotcha. All right, that's cool.
Yeah. So you want to try that, or let Livy just splat?
I'm not gonna let Livy splat. It's okay.
Okay.
You guys see Warren as he falls through the air. Livy beside him. He'll reach over and sort of grab her by the cuff of the back of her armor, whatever she's wearing. It's almost this sort of slow motion sort of thing. A bit of a sound wave goes off as he lands sort of in that position with one hand on the ground and the knees. You see how the snow just blow up around him. So I'll use the reaction to take no damage from me, and I will use Windwalker, which gives me Levitate as a bonus action. So I'm just like an inch above the ground with Livy, and nice. I can lift, I can hold her. So this blast that kind of goes off around. My only question is the ship coming down like on top of us, or?
Yeah, you look up and the ship is falling right towards you, and it's going to be hitting probably by the end of next round. Or no, it'll be the end of this round, actually.
That's right. And how far away is Octavius then?
Octavius is from you about 40 feet away, talking to some barbarian woman who now has her axe drawn at him, and probably seems to be like forgetting that the ship is like barreling right towards you guys.
All right. With that, I will scream over to him and be like, "You fool! Look at the damn ship. You better run." And with that, for my actual action, I'll grab a hold of Livy and Dimension Door 500 feet away in whatever direction gets us safe.
All right, yeah, you just all right, time to go here. Open up the portal door and step through it, and then you bamf away like quite far out of the radius. Yeah. Next up are the birds that were fighting you guys, but you obviously are quite far away now. They are going to just decide to disengage, not disengage, but fly away. Livy is now up, and she is going to. Does she have any spells that can help right now? I don't see anything, so she'll probably just take a pop shot at one of the birds in the distance. Maiden's Garden, 2 quick shots, missing and hitting, and the mage has already been defeated, so she'll just the retreating ones shoot an arrow and injure one, and that puts us to the top of the initiative. Delphine free falls, and she is going to splat pretty hard.
No, I'm not. I'm going to catch her.
Yeah, sorry. Give me a... You just hear her screaming as she falls, and give me a... What do we say? I'm going to say probably a strength check to just grab her. Athletics.
Yeah, is it my turn?
No, it's kind of happening as a reactionary thing.
Okay, so I can't.
She's about to fall by you right now.
Yeah, that's fine. Man, I hope this doesn't fucking save or just a check.
Check, athletics check.
Athletics. Okay.
Yeah.
That's way different than what I was supposed to do. Yay, super strong barbarians.
Yeah, she just slams into you, and you just grab onto her as looking on like confused. Who are you?
The one that's saving you. We have to have a conversation. And I will, on my turn, I will fly back and land
that
on the
is
ground.
right now.
Yep. So I will holding on to her. Not even maybe nice. You know what I mean? But like, maybe just holding on to the back of her clothing. I let go of her at a distance that won't hurt her. And I fly back down and land next to where my wife is.
She currently has her great axe drawn and says, "Husband, tell these people at once they must be gone, or they will meet my blade."
I fully agree, my lady. But they did just help us fight them off. We may want to find out what they need. Oh, and that's going to hit us. And oh man, I can't really move. Is it going to literally land right on top of us?
Actually, yeah, I completely forgot that was supposed to happen at the end of the round. I jumped ahead. So that actually, we got to retcon a bit. My apologies. Octavius, Lorwyn, give me a dexterity saving throw as the ship comes crashing into you guys.
Okay, so that also might change what I do. You know what I mean? So
definitely.
Yeah.
Seven.
And Lorwyn rolled a 5. So you both are kind of caught in the moment as she's has her weapon drawn at you, and then slam this ship kind of. It literally looks like a giant sleigh, so it actually doesn't like break from the momentum. It like a riding sleigh hits onto the ground and begins skidding towards you guys. One of the legs kind of break out and sparks begin to fly as you guys are like, oh yeah, and try to jump out of the way. Both of you fail and you're hit by this and then dragged up into the balloon that's kind of like now like dragging in behind. You take a total of that's a pretty spicy amount of damage. 23 damage.
Does that put Octavius out? No, he's got 30 left. No, he's got 30 left.
6. No, he's 20. What did I just say? I forget. 20.
23.
23, yeah. 67. You are very close to death. And Lorwyn is actually pretty badly messed up too. On the fringe of being unconscious. And yeah, you guys are swept up into the balloon that is now like dragging in behind. You're caught. It takes out your feet and then you're slammed in. And then before you know it, you're pulled over the cliff and begin to plummet even further. Back to the real top of the initiative. I'm assuming, are you grabbing Delphine anyways? As she's like literally as she hits you first.
Okay, so is my wife falling over the side of the cliff?
Yeah.
And how far away from am I from her now?
You are about 80 feet away from her as all this happens.
No, I'm not interested in this woman at all anymore because I'm watching my wife fall.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, she's falling into you, so I guess you just she's literally just gonna like kind of hit into you and then try to grapple you because she doesn't want to fall to her death.
Yeah, no.
And are you resisting or?
Well, he is going to fly as fast as he possibly can, which is only 60 feet.
Yeah, you're up after her, so she falls first.
Yeah.
She's trying to grapple. She actually probably fails. She rolled a 2.
No, yeah. So as soon as soon as I see Lauren start to fall, I change my attention from the woman that is falling to my wife.
Okay.
And
then she is going to take quite a bit of damage.
Well, all right.
I got the damage loaded. Decide now.
She's gonna be so angry at me right now, though. So, but whatever. All right. Yeah, I grab her. It was a 14.
Okay, you grab her.
I fly down towards the ground and let go of her over the land, again, at a distance that won't hurt her.
Okay.
And move the rest of the distance towards my wife.
Okay. So yeah, you flew 60
feet away from her.
Yep. All right. Octavius.
It's fine. I'll catch her. I'm not worried about it.
You're now being caught in this balloon that is deflated, and you begin like extreme mountain skiing down or tobogganing on the back of this balloon that's like kind of one-legged, rockety, jaggedy, plummeting down the mountain, and you're just being like pin-cushioned around, slamming into rocks here and there. I'm going to need another strength saving throw from you.
Oh, 17 plus... What's that? 21, I think?
21. You succeed, but you're still, as you're dragged around, slammed into rocks, and you take a total of 10 damage halved. So 5 damage puts you 2 points away from being knocked unconscious. You need to get the heck out of here.
Funny enough, my cantrip resistance will go off. So that'll give me a resistance to any more of the damage I take from the tumbling.
Okay. So you're casting resistance?
Yeah, well, it's a cantrip, but yeah.
Yeah. So you still got to spend an action using that if you wanted to use it.
Even with a cantrip?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you might not want to do that.
No, I will use every power that I have within me to bury my hammer in the rocks and try to hold up as much of the balloon that me and this woman are entangled in. So
Sorry,
I'm not sure if that's a strength thing or if that's going to be an attack. To wedge
are you trying to like take on the weight of the airship?
I'm trying to at least take on the weight of whatever me and her are tangled up in.
You're tangled into the balloon, but the balloon's connected to the airship, and the airship weighs quite a bit. Like no,
is the airship still above?
It's still connected to it. Yeah. It's just being like the balloon is kind of like deflated and then got tugged underneath the airship, and then now is being like pulled behind and is all tangled up in the mess of it.
Are we underneath the balloon, or are we like on top of the balloon being dragged?
You are like in between stage. You know how like I imagine it's like you're just trapped in some like sheets or whatever, or if you had jumped onto like a pool liner and you're just kind of like you're trying to like kick yourself out of it, but it's as the momentum being pulled down at such a rapid rate, it like kind of has you half tangled, half not. You can definitely spend an action untangling yourself.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually selflessly, I'm going to in my head, in Octavius's head, start to process the words of the spell for spiritual weapon. And selfishly, I'm going to use spiritual weapon to cut a slit through the balloon so that the woman can tumble out and be free of the balloon. What she does from there is her own business. And I will continue to tumble in the balloon with it. I will use my action to do my best to free her from the entanglement of the balloon.
Mm-hmm. She sees you as you're both kind of falling. She's up next. Summon forth a spiritual knife, and she looks to you as the knife starts to float towards her and says, "I knew that no civilized man could be trusted." And then you slit her free, and she looks on in confusion and then begins to like free herself from this, and then with the momentum of it falling down and her not being caught in it, begins to like pull herself up, and she looks on in confusion and just, "Why would you save me, not yourself?" As she begins to fall, she is going to what the hell would she do? She would not be expecting that. In the moment, she will attack, swinging at you at first, you think, but then spend her attack swinging at the sheet and also slitting you free, as you now both actually tumble out, and she will say that, "I will be in no debt to no civilized man ever." And you guys...
There will never...
Go ahead.
Octavius would look up and say there would never be a debt. And he will start to pick himself up and dust himself off. Still
needs to make her strength saving throw, as I got ahead of myself here. Failing, and this is not going to be pretty, actually. She's going to take... Oof. Yeah, so after that, I'll be in debt to no civilized men. She doesn't track her attention towards the actual fact that you're falling down a mountain, and then is hit with a big stone in the side of the head and knocked unconscious. Warrendale, you're quite far away, but you see that your friend Octavius and this woman are swept up in the falling airship and then tugged over the side of the cliff. As you look over the cliffside, you see that this thing literally just like plummets down like as far as you can see. So it's a big drop. It's not like straight down, but it's essentially like extreme mountain skiing kind of down.
And did she already hit the bottom? Is that why she's unconscious?
No, she was hit by like a stray rock that you're being dragged down. So they got quite a while to like tumble. But she is dropped unconscious for sure.
All right. And Octavius is going over the edge, correct?
Yes.
All right. Seems like I'm always having to save these bastards one after another. Once again, I should go over there and save him again. I will use a bonus action. 2 more sorcery points. I'm running out of sorcery points. Saving your asses, guys. I start walking forward, annoyed. Waves his hand as his image sort of fades. I still have levitate, so I'll appear as close as I can get to him, sort of levitating in the air, and I'm going to cast banishment on him to send him to a safe demiplane for a minute.
Nice.
As long as he lets me.
Yeah, you start to feel like you're going to be banished away, Octavius, as you see this girl free you herself and say that she will not be in debt to you. You look over and see in the distance that Warrendale is trying to cast a spell to make you disappear from this plane altogether.
I will
I'll give you the
feel
thumbs
like
up.
anything better than what's going to happen, so I will allow it.
You will allow it?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Is
So,
there any chance I could levitate near this lady to try and catch her? If not, that's cool. He wouldn't worry about it. I just don't know if he could get close. Try.
You can get closer for sure, but you said you dimension door pretty far away, so I don't know how fast you can travel.
Well, levitating is just levitating. It's not flying.
Yeah.
Well, it's cut in half though because of my thing, so I only have 20-foot fly speed at the moment.
Yeah,
and
and the grand
which throws me 10 more, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you wouldn't be near enough to get close to her.
So.
So then, yeah, you see this female pass unconscious Octavius, and then suddenly you're bamfed away to like just some, I don't even know what plane of safe demi. What do you like? What does it look like? Where do you send them?
Is actually, can I cast it at 5th level and banish them both?
Yeah, I guess you can probably.
Because I can do an extra one with an extra level. So.
And she's unconscious, so she doesn't even get to a save, which she definitely would have did if she was conscious.
So
but yeah,
5th instead of 4th. All right.
even better. So interesting. They're bamfed away. Livy is kind of looking on to you and just you got them, right? Like they're okay.
Oh, don't worry. I sent them to a place that they should enjoy. As you sort of wake up or realize where you're at, Octavius, you just see this ocean of my smiling face everywhere as you're in the plane of Warren.
It's a horrible plane. I don't know if that's safe. It's not safe for your mental stability.
The clouds look like me. The sky is the color of their robes.
It would make Octavius smile.
Reich Leviant, you are flying as quick as you can to save your wife as you see her knocked unconscious, and then suddenly she just completely and utterly disappears altogether. You don't know if she got like swept up in the it didn't look like she got swept up in the balloon or something, but like 1 minute she was there and next she's gone.
Yeah, so Rick would fly down and land to where she last was. You know what I mean? Where you last saw her. And would start digging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, okay.
So, and he'd start digging through the snow to see if she fell into the snow, because if it was soft snow, you might fall into it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nobody there, right?
No, nothing.
He would also move to where that man was doing the same thing, and there's nobody there as well.
Correct.
Very confused. Fly back up again. Now, he doesn't really know where those other two went either.
Warndell and Livy?
Yeah,
You would
not really.
see them.
You'd probably see Livy way in the distance and me quite a bit closer, but
Yeah, you'd see them standing on the cliffside. Actually, you probably also, because I imagine banishment has verbal and somatic, you'd probably see him muttering and doing hand gestures. At least I think it is.
Yeah. I don't know. We could look that up.
yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Sure,
So he would
giving middle fingers and smiling.
Is there a need for us to still be in turn order?
Nope. We are technically out of turn order as all the enemies have been defeated.
Yeah. So for the next, still, because there's only 2 rounds, so for the next 48 seconds, I still can fly. So I would fly as fast as I possibly can towards that person that I saw doing a spell, and land right in front of right in front of Warrendale.
You see this winged, towering man that looks like he's made of pure muscle, with a glowing mask land in front of you, Warrendale.
Where did they go?
Look at you. Look at your boots. Look at your mask. What the fuck are you? Some sort of angel or something?
And she and it's gonna be very hard not to say she. And he would, draw his weapon that was back on his back again. I'm not gonna ask you again.
Livy kind of imposes herself now, and it's like, hey, everybody! Like, no reason to draw the weapons. This is my friend Warrendale. I'm Livy Caspian, and Warren just cast a spell to save your friend and our friend. Right? Tell him, Warren.
She'll be back in a few minutes. Don't you worry.
It looked like she fell.
I wouldn't allow that. I don't like watching people splatter. It's distasteful.
And as very impatiently, he still has his weapon trained on you. If she's not back here, you will be gone.
What if?
How long do you let the banishment go for?
I don't know if I can actually end it early or not. I was just looking. I know I can on myself.
I don't know. Let's see.
So it would be the full minute.
Yeah, so you gotta wait a full minute, as there's probably like this tense moment, and a wild Livy appears for real. Hey, Mary, welcome. Glad you can make it. So I don't know how much you've actually seen of what's going on. Do you know, Livy?
We were free falling, and then we weren't free falling, and then a ship crashed down, and it sounded like there's some barbarians that we're trying to make peace with now.
Yeah, so basically what happened is Lorwyn, who is the new character's wife, was knocked unconscious as Octavio saved her from being tugged, and then she didn't want to be in debt, freed him, and then slammed her head into a boulder, not paying attention. They were both going to fall, but Warrendale cast banishment on them, which now sent them to a demi-plane of a world completely made of Warrendale's face. And Reich Leviant showed up confused, wondering why his wife suddenly disappeared. And now there's this kind of tense moment where Reich Leviant's weapon is drawn, and he threatened that if his wife isn't returned, that you guys will be in trouble. And that is literally the exact moment that's happening right now, as you guys are waiting for the spell to end.
Okay.
And you've tried to defuse the situation, and this is maybe one of the largest human beings you've ever seen. So, like, and
I've seen larger.
Well,
We've been around giants.
Yeah, well, I said human being. I didn't say giant. But 30 seconds into the waiting, I rage and kind of even puff up more, and the aura comes around me. I'm growing impatient. Where is she?
Can you still fly?
No. I only do that once a day. I'm not going to ask you again, little man.
That sucks because you see, she's going to appear right over there next to the cliffside, so somebody's got to catch her. Wait, about to hurry. Come on. Lead the hut.
Yeah, and over the next, in turn order, I could move like 300 feet.
Yeah. So
I'm more than happy with double dash.
Are you gonna listen to him then and get over to where he says they're gonna pop up?
Come along. You don't have all this time. Jesus.
I'm gonna throw you over the side of this mountain if she doesn't show up.
No, you won't. But come along. Stand right here. Right? Yeah, put your arms out, just like this. Put your arms out. Crouch down a little bit because you got to make sure you catch your weight. Got to squat a little bit.
I know my wife. Shut up.
All right. Then yeah, once they come back, oh.
And I would go where this man tells me to.
All right. A minute passes, and then suddenly, boof! Octavius and Lorwyn both materialize back into this plane. I imagine that if you're cool with it, Warrendale, you've positioned it in a way that Octavius comes flying into Reich Leviant. So this big, burly, like armored man just suddenly clank right in front of him and like lands, and then you catch the woman who's much lighter.
Certainly.
Give me a strength save, Reich Leviant, to see if you can handle this like probably over 200-pound man coming flying into you because he's armored up and everything.
Is that athletics?
Yeah.
Okay.
I must have forgot which one was where. It's okay.
It's a 22.
You still bear him, no problem. Just catch him in his arms like a small infant.
Yeah. And I kind of spike him on the ground like a fucking football.
Hey, honey.
Oh, and he like rushes over to where this other man is, who's holding my wife, who's unconscious.
Yeah.
And I take him out of her arms. And can I retcon and say I didn't do that thing earlier?
What thing?
When I did like the flavorful heal thing.
Negatory.
Okay. Yeah. So I can usually heal people a little bit, but I can't heal her because I already did it once today. Again, that's only a once a day thing. Well, yeah, it's once a day thing.
She's conscious. I can help her.
Say you would have had a minute with her in that dimension. I don't know if that would have done anything for you, Octavius.
Oh, if I had a minute with her in the dimension and I had an ability to do something, I would have used my divine life and I would have given her 25 points of healing.
Okay. So an interesting thing happens when you do that. You drop down and you see that she obviously is on the verge of bleeding out. You come up and you kneel down in this plane of Warrendale where the clouds are Warrendel's smile, the sky is Warrendel's smile, the rocks are Warrendel's smile. It's just all Warrendale. And you rest her down and you channel your spell and you heal her and you feel the wound kind of close over and she takes in a breath of like relief, but she doesn't awaken from her unconscious state.
With more time in this realm of Warrendale, I will use the power of the ring to try to take on any and all ailments that face her.
Okay, interesting. You do so.
You may not want to do that.
Yeah, that might be a bad idea.
That might be a real bad idea. But you don't know that.
Let's see how this ring works again. You're going to do Ilmater's Burden, which gives you... Okay. Interesting. All right. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. Uh-oh. That is going to be 16.
All right, you're good. You don't get any exhaustion. You take on a lot of this woman's pain or whatever. Actually, are you sure you want to do that? You have 2 HP left.
I want it all. And if I have to, I will even use the cantrip Spare the Dying on myself.
You can't spare the dying yourself because if you go and take on this woman's pain, you'll knock yourself unconscious.
Taking it all.
All right, you knock yourself unconscious then, and then bamf into existence, and now you're holding an unconscious like Octavius, and Warrendell is holding an unconscious Lorwyn. She does not wake up. You drop Octavius on the ground, rush over, tear your wife from the man's hand. You see that they both are now unconscious, Warrendell, which maybe they got knocked around. You don't really know what happened.
Why are neither of them
Their
awake?
souls haven't returned with them.
I don't know what happened. We'd have to wake up the priest and see what happened.
Very slowly, he turns his head towards the woman that just spoke to him, or just spoke out loud. I don't see why that's a bit of folly. Where did you send them?
To a wonderful realm of smiles and happiness.
Then why aren't they awake?
Well, I don't know. I was not there. I was here with you, telling you where to stand, and you didn't listen.
And he's growing. He lays her onto the ground and stands up and grabs the man in front of him and says, "Fix this now."
Try to grab me, but I'll just miss you. Step out of the way.
Okay, so he grabs to where you were and still says it.
We need to wake them up. Perhaps you know some medicine things or Livy or something. I don't know how to heal people. I'll do a medicine check on Octavius if I can. I'm just not good at it.
Yeah, Octavius is...
Lauren saying that Livy's digging through a pack. She's like, I'm pretty sure I have a healing potion in here somewhere. Please check my items.
You got a greater healing potion and a superior healing potion.
Ta-da!
Livy is the one we need to talk to. Come on.
She just like starts digging through and just goes, yep. Okay, this is the really good stuff. So I'm assuming you would probably want this for your person, and we'll use this one on ours.
And he rips it out of your hand. And he looks at it, and he's seen a healing potion before. You know what I mean?
I imagine, yeah.
Yeah. And he shakes it up a little bit. Make sure that it looks like as if it's a healing potion.
Mm-hmm.
You will not want to deal with me if you kill this woman right now, ma'am.
Libby would be like, kind of off her hand, like, here. And if he gives it back to her, she'll uncork it, take a sip.
No.
Okay.
And he administers the potion to Lorwyn.
Which potion did you give her? You gave her the better one, Libby?
Better one.
Better one.
All right, so 8d4.
Do you want me to roll it, or you want to roll it?
I can roll it. One, two.
No, I got it.
Go for it.
Oh, you got it?
No, go for it.
You're a goof. You both are goofs. Yeah.
Wait, now how do I do that? How do I add more of them?
Pick it up and then right click 8 times or 7 times.
That's all right amount?
Yep. And Octavius, who wants to roll Octavius's potion? It's 4d4 plus 4.
I got it right here.
So it's 8d4 plus 8, so it's 28, right?
It is 8d4 plus 8. Yep, 28.
Yeah, it's 28 to her.
What is mine? 4d4?
Yep. Greater.
Plus 4.
All right. Octavius, you're brought to 15 HP down from that. So let's do that. No. How do we do that? That puts you at this 20. Wait, you're not there. I'm bad at math. Where are you? Okay, 15. Take away that is right there. We got this. I actually can't mental math that right now. I'm sorry. Puts him at, there we go. Okay. Octavius, you are brought back to consciousness as you're on the ground. Warrendell's pouring a potion down your throat. You look over, and the man that you have not met yet, this towering barbarian, is currently administering a potion to his wife, who you were just trying to save. As you took on her pain, you were overcome with visions of a dark, like, brewing storm that just swelled with anger and hate. Dark black clouds that shot these bright beaming bolts of lightning. And try as you might, you could not free her from whatever this was that was inside of her. You're back to consciousness now, and you know that although that woman's body is stabilized, there is something more than meets the eye to what's going on, and she is stuck in like a coma essentially, which is something that you can't free her from with that ring.
Now, when I give her the potion, does she wake up?
No.
I have tried to heal her. When I was in that realm with her, I tried to heal her and she would not wake. I did my best to take all of her pain and ailment, and it knocked me out. But I could not get her to rise. I saw visions from her. Something ails that woman.
Shut up. Now. There's not anybody but me and her that know that she's not well. If you know something about my wife, then you need to not talk about it, sir.
Ooh, scary mask man.
And he stands up over his wife with her straddled between his in between his body. Why is she not waking their healing man?
Delphine kind of walks up now after a while, and it's like, all right, listen, this guy seems like a bit of an asshole, and he doesn't want us to fuck around with his dead wife. So how about we go worry about our airship, which is down there, beat to shit. And she points, and you see that eventually the airship has came to a slamming halt and is now badly beaten. I don't really want to stay up here. It doesn't seem like they want us here. So
yeah. Is she within grasping distance of Reich?
No.
Yeah, that works for me.
Like Zoe would have kind of said something like, "Tell me not now to be snippy like this." Like,
I tried to help. Without more information, I don't think I can.
There isn't more information to give. She's not.
There were vision storms in her head.
Because. Yes, there probably was. It's because she's the mother of storms.
Sir, when I jumped out of that airship, my only intention was to help you and her. That's still my only intention.
And you did. With celestial creatures. And that is very peculiar. Who are you?
My name is Octavius, and these are my friends, Livy and Warren.
Livy
We're here to try to figure out this giant issue. We have been traveling all over this land.
Now, okay. Chris, how much would he know of this giant issue? Because they're pretty isolated where they live, probably, right?
Yeah, you probably don't know a whole lot, to be honest.
Yeah. I have no idea what you're talking about.
My friend Livy will stay with your wife. If you will give us a hand with the airship, I'll fill you in. It won't take long.
You think that thing's going to be flight-worthy again?
Probably not. But it has a few items we might be able to take from it.
Wonderful.
While you're talking, you notice that the storm is kind of swelled above you guys again, and suddenly with a big boom of thunder and a beam of lightning so large that you literally need to shield your eyes, and it momentarily blinds all of you.
Besides me, of course.
Standing there now at the top of the cliff is a shadow larger than any that you've ever seen. As your vision it blurs, you finally kind of look, Reiklevin. You see standing at the top of the cliff is, let me just screen share what you see. How do I do this? I don't want to share all of it. I just want to share what I want to share. Give me a second here. I gotta Jimmy rig this.
Oh, no, it's fine. As you're doing that, I don't have any interest in helping you get that very uninteresting device out of the ground. I'll be very honest.
And then standing before you, let me screen share it to the thing too. That probably would have been the easier way to do it. Is this 60-foot tall, white bearded, gray skinned giant. And his voice
is it where we were before?
No, but it's around. It's definitely like very close. Yeah, peculiarly close.
Okay.
I mean, I imagine your instinct would jump to probably one thought, which you're allowed to.
And he would look up and then look back down towards the group. Friend of yours?
That would be a breath of fresh air. Yeah, we can hope.
And then he would look again and go, Strominus.
His voice kind of booms out and has this low rumble to it, and he says, "No, I am not Stromnus. My name is King Hecaton."
Like,
You mean...
oh my gosh!
What?
You the king, and she will kind of go to default, like we bow or curtsy or something. She takes a knee. We were looking for you.
Does that name mean anything to break? Can I roll for that?
Give me a history check.
Yeah. Nope.
But he would anyways say that I am King Hecaton, king of the storm giants, king to all giants' kin. I have heard your wife's prayers, and I am here to save her.
Break very under the mask, very quizzically is looking at this person and goes, "We don't serve giants. We serve gods and angels." And you're here to protect her. Is that correct?
He looks at you and begins to step down the cliff, his steps kind of booming, and he says, "Your wife prayed out to Stromnus, the god of storms. I am Stromnus's champion. She suffers a great ailment.
I'm very aware.
And I am here to break that. Otherwise, she will die.
She's already died.
The storm will overcome her. Now, protector of the light, will you protect more than you've been trained to, or will you let your wife die?"
What do you mean by protecting more I've trained to?
Your wife, you fool.
Yes. And he takes a step away from her.
He booms down and scoops her up with his giant hand, and never has Lorwyn, the proud mother of storms and leader of the Lightning Clan, a fierce warrior, look so small in this giant man's hand. And he scoops her up gently and then begins to walk over to where Storm's Peak is. And he wields this mace that seems like the head of it is just made of pure like lightning and light. And he walks up to Storm's Peak. And he says that you all will want to step back.
Reglivian would not heed his warning and would follow the man.
He says, "You fool! You will heed my warning. I am King Hekaton, king to storm giants. This is your last warning."
Livy's like booking it back.
I am made of lightning. I am made of storms. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do to her that would be worse for me.
This is your last chance, mortal. Step back.
Live to fight another day.
He reluctantly takes a few steps back.
He would then start to walk up to Storm's Peak.
Mm-hmm.
And he begins to, with one arm, spin his mace around. And as he spins, you start to hear it hum. As it gets louder and louder, hum. The storm begins to swell above his head. Thunder and lightning begins to boom. And then as the storm reaches its like apex, he holds his hand up, carrying Lorwyn. And a beam of lightning, equally as powerful as the one that seemed to have summoned forth this king, slams into his palm. It's blinding, even to you at this moment, Reich Leviant. Calling down the king of storm giants, he summons a storm unlike any other. And as the light kind of subsides, he's now kind of standing there, and he slowly brings his hand down. As you look, you see that Lorwyn takes a deep gasp and then suddenly is awake.
Octavius would yell, "Can I borrow your conch?"
Jesus. He does not heed you in any regards, as he now comes to you, Reich Leviant, and he says, "I have answered the Mother of Storm's prayers. Now you must repay the favor."
And how do you venture I should do that?
And I think that is where we're going to end the session, because it is 2:03. So we will find out what King Hekaton wants next session. Hopefully that's not too far away. And Reich Leviant has now been introduced to the party. A little bit of a tense meeting, but the Children of the Storms are proud and strong people. So until next time, guys, thanks for playing. Thanks for showing up last minute, Mary. I appreciate it. Sorry you didn't get to play a little bit longer, but next session, I promise we'll make sure that you are available for it.
No worries. I'll do my best.
All right. Until next time, guys, we will catch you all around. Peace.